Sky Sports Live.
The streets of Durban have been transformed into South Africa's own Monaco as A1 gears up for its 7th race weekend and its first of 2006. Durbanites are undoubtedly up for the World Cup of Motorsport. For Team France, yesterday was another success story as 4 times race winner Alexander Premat recorded his first A1 pole in a sprint race and left all other competition in his wake. Lining up beside Premat on the front row today will be Team GBR and Robbie Kerr, who demonstrated how committed he is to bagging that elusive first race win. Despite taking 5th position on the grid later, it could have been so much better for Ralph Berman. He was far from happy after 2 red flags in the final session of qualifying hampered his chances.
I don't know why people have to come out of the pits. Obviously a street circuit, you have to be careful. It just ruined my week, well, not ruined my weekend, but probably would have been on the front rows, a new set of tyres, and now we're 5th, so very disappointing.
Welcome to South Africa and to Durban for an altogether different A1 meeting. Here's how the action pans out today. First up, the sprint race that gets underway at 11:30. Then it's the feature that follows at 1. Hi there, A1 Grand Prix is this weekend back in business. After an extended winter break following the death of Sheikh Maktoum bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the A1 calendar has been rejigged somewhat. For the avoidance of doubt, the postponement of A1 Indonesia sees that race weekend at the Central Circuit move now till February the 12th. So that's to look forward to in a fortnight or so's time. Today, however, we have the small matter of a street circuit to contemplate. With me to keep an eye on it, World Touring Car Champion Andy Priaulx and Sky Sports' Keith Hewen will be looking ahead to the race day shortly with me. Before that though, let's bring you up to speed with the A1 story so far.
Round 1 saw the spectacular launch of the A1 Grand Prix Championship. Brazil captured the first pole. The rolling start sprint race proved to be a truly international affair and saw the podium occupied by 3 continents, with New Zealand, France and Brazil.
Brazil take the first win of A1 GP.
The action intensified in the feature race, with Team Lebanon crashing out, testing the A1 chassis to its limits. PK Jr. made it a double victory in front of a massive Brands Hatch crowd, with 2 new arrivals on the podium. Australia coming second and aspiring motorsport nation Mexico in third. Germany hosted round 2. After a dramatic start, France held on to open their A1 account in the sprint race.
France, it's their first win in the World Cup of Motorsport.
In the feature race, Switzerland showed early form before France spectacularly power-boosted their way past on the circuit's long straights. The podium saw 2 new emerging stars from Great Britain and Canada. Round 3, Estoril, Portugal saw the experienced Dutch team scoring their best result to date and continued success for Team France in the sprint race. But Holland's Jos Verstappen had a rush of blood to the head and dramatically crashed out in the feature race, where Team Ireland produced an amazing overtake after a 4-way battle. This ensured Ireland had its first podium of the year. A1 followed the winter sun and headed south to Australia, where Portugal started the weekend well by qualifying second for the sprint race, which they maintained for the finish, and France continued their domination. The feature race saw another great start by Portugal, which proved to be short-lived as they incurred a drive-through penalty. Mexico crashing with the Czech Republic, causing the safety car to come out, combined with pit stops, meant that for the first time Team Lebanon led the race. After a huge crash for Team Japan, France breezed home to make it another double.
Victory number 6, and Nicolas Lapierre has dominated proceedings.
Round 5, Malaysia saw a storming start in the sprint race by Team Switzerland. A1 witnessed its most exciting race to date, with Switzerland fending off an aggressive attack by Team France until the very last lap.
They're round the outside there, France almost has it, Team France takes the lead. It's victory number 7 for France.
The feature race was action-packed with national pride fizzing over when India shunted Pakistan. Team Malaysia drove with heart in front of a patriotic crowd. France was ecstatic with their 8th successive victory, but nothing could compare with the joy of the Czechs gaining their first bronze medal. Round 6, Dubai hosted the last race of 2005. The sprint race saw Team France end their unbeaten run with a rare mistake, dropping them to 7.
France have spun! Oh my goodness! They've lost even more time now, and France really in trouble.
This, coupled with problems for Team Ireland, meant Italy made their first trip to the podium of the season, with a long-deserved victory for consistent Team Switzerland. The feature race was as exciting as ever. GB survived a bump on the first lap and France fought through the field. Pit stops proved pivotal, and Switzerland and Italy pitted late under the safety car, handing the lead to GB, who eventually relented under huge pressure from France. Team South Africa took a jubilant third, with China netting their first points of the season in front of strong support and an ecstatic team. And France took their 9th victory of the season.
So here we are now to the present day, round 7, and it's Durban up next for the A1 Grand Prix World Cup of Motorsport. And Keith, it has been pretty much a rollercoaster ride since September and since Brands Hatch. We're at the halfway point. Is it going in the right direction for you?
It's going in the right direction for France, and everyone else is really playing catch-up. Neil Yarney's got to do the business for Switzerland, or France are going to get away in this new year.
Today is a series first, Andy. Should we be prepared to expect the unexpected today?
Absolutely. With a street circuit, you can always expect the unexpected. I mean, France is going to be impressive today, but Ralph Furman's looking really, really strong, and Robbie's going to be past if anybody makes a mistake, which is very easy on a street circuit. So it's going to be great racing.
OK, well, let's just take a look at exactly who lines up where in the sprint race today, because this is how they qualified yesterday. Alexander Premat on pole for the first time in an A1 GP sprint race. On the front row with him, Robbie Kerr going for a first race win after 4 podiums. Switzerland and Neil Yarney on third, sharing the second row with Switzerland, the Dutch and Jos Verstappen. Ralph Furman lining up in 5th. Slightly disappointed he was with that. Thomas Enger in 6th. 7th is Matt Halliday and Team New Zealand. Nelson Piquet Jr. saving some face yesterday, clawed his way up from 12th to 8th. Canada start 9th, Malaysia and Alex Young in 10th. And one change for you there is that Enrico Toccacelli, incidentally, will now be racing for Team Pakistan. That's in the absence of Adam Khan, who was ruled out with an accident yesterday. So Enrico Toccacelli for Team Pakistan from the back of the grid. Let's just have a brief word on Team France and the fact that this is a street circuit, Keith. They surely should impress here, shouldn't they, bearing in mind Alexander Premat's record in street races?
Premat's street record credentials are better than anybody's here. He loves this particular track. Damns the race car team that sort out the motor car. They really have done a perfect job for the car. It looked really good through qualifying and practice. They're the favourites for sure.
OK, well, they did impress most in qualifying, that's for sure. For the very latest ahead of race day, let's cross to Durban and join Lee McKenzie.
Thanks very much, Georgie. Hello and welcome to Durban. The atmosphere here is electric. People have been queuing to get in since 6 o'clock this morning, and 50,000 people are expected here today, mostly to cheer on this man, South Africa's Steven Simpson. Steven, no pressure, but this is the biggest day of your motorsport career, and all these people are here to look at you. How are the nerves?
Yes, certainly. I mean, it's great seeing, looking around the back of the circuit on my slowdown lap, and the grandstands are just about full. So the support I've received is just brilliant, and yeah, it's going to be a very special day.
Tell us what this race means, not only for you, but for all the motorsport fans here in Durban.
It means a lot. There isn't a motor racing track in Durban, so this is the first time that a lot of Durbaners have seen motor racing of this caliber live, and to bring it right into the street of Durban is brilliant.
16th on the grid, I know that's not where you'd hoped to be. Did you have problems yesterday, or is it just such a tricky circuit?
Yes, certainly. It's not where I want to be. I think we're working on the car through qualifying. It's the first time I've ever driven on a street circuit. So it was a combination of me building up confidence and the car getting better. And our last qualifying run was pretty good. I don't think speed is too much of an issue. But because my quickest time and my second quickest time get added together, I think my second quickest time was about a second slower. So good position is disappointing, but speed is I'm not too concerned about.
Stephen, have a great day. Thanks very much for joining us. I think we're in for a great, if hectic, day's racing here. Alex Premat is the man at the front. Pole position is always important, but here on this tight street circuit, it's absolutely crucial. You can hear the atmosphere building behind me. We're in for a great day's racing. Back to you.
Lee, thanks very much. So, as Lee said, huge anticipation ahead of race day. Not too far off now. On the other side of the break, it's the sprint.
If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. You only get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
Live from Detroit, Super Bowl 40, sponsored by Coors. Next Sunday, 10 p.m., Sky Sports 1.
The all-new Saab 9.3 V6 Turbo Sport Wagon.
With the ING Direct Savings account, there are no catches. And you can move your money when you like. So you can relax with the world's leading direct savings bank. Call now or go online. ING Direct. It's your money we're saving.
Do you know what's on your credit report? It could determine whether you're rejected for a mortgage, a personal loan or a credit card. And it may affect the rate of interest you pay. Relax. There's an easy way to find out. Credit Expert lets you view your credit report online, so you can stay on top of your finances. And if there is a problem, Credit Expert is there to help you. So log on to creditexpert.co.uk now for a free 30-day trial. Credit Expert from Experian. Take control of your credit history today.
Welcome back to Durban, South Africa for a series first A1 Grand Prix about to embark on its first ever street race. The South African public up for it, the drivers up for it, as are the teams and us in the studio. Plenty to look forward to for the 7th race weekend of A1 Grand Prix. Now, there is simply no getting away from the fact that we're all a little overexcited by the prospect of not one, but 2 street races today. It is a series first and the only race weekend of its kind on the A1 calendar this season. Ben Edwards brings you a closer look at what drivers can expect from a circuit that's never been driven before.
The visit of A1 Grand Prix to South Africa marks a new step in the short history of the series. The city of Durban has created the first street track to be used, and the drivers will have to cope with a variety of different challenges, from surface changes to temporary curbs, restricted confines and tunnel vision. The layout is 3.2 kilometres long, almost exactly 2 miles, and the start-finish straight is on Snell Parade, which last formed part of a track back in 1954. It leads into the slowest corner, a hairpin right which looks wide enough to encourage overtaking attempts in the race. This is how the approach to that hairpin looks for real. The cars will flash past the pits on the left-hand side, stream beneath the starting gantry and flash past the fans who can get up close and personal to the action. Prominent marker boards help drivers determine the braking point for the hairpin, an area that's looked down upon by apartments that could contain some of the best seats in the house. Further around the lap, the A1 Grand Prix cars can really stretch their legs. The back straight sees speeds up to 165 miles per hour between the concrete walls, and then a tricky curving braking area leading into a conventional 90-degree right-hander. The straight begins by running the wrong way down a motorway entry slip road, and then widens as the cars approach the gentle right-hand curve that hides the braking zone for turn 9. Overtaking will be much harder than defending here, but we may see drivers being forced into braking too late and into the escape road. Towards the end of the lap, the left-hander around the casino seems to go on forever. It leads down to the last bend, a right-hander which takes them past the pits. But it's this previous bend that has tongues wagging amongst the drivers. From the curbs on the entry, in the dry it will be flat out, but on turning in the driver has no idea what's happening at the exit because the concrete walls create a narrow tunnel obscuring the sightline. From there it's a question of one final corner, which is conventional but has an inviting set of tyres on the outside. A1 Grand Prix is maturing. It's becoming streetwise.
The track there wet, not so today. The forecast, incidentally, 27 degrees, it's overcast and humid, so the weather good for the day. And Keith, as the track does get warmer, how fast a circuit is this going to become?
Well, I think the track is cleaning up every single day and every single lap that's covered by the cars. I mean, the slicks and the like are dragging all the sand, bearing in mind that's a beach road, the front straight, at the end of the day. Very green, the surfaces are quite changeable as well. There's manhole covers, there's bumps, there's ruts, there's all sorts of things in it. And they didn't get a great run at it in practice because obviously it was wet. So at the end of the day, you know, data for the cars has been very late in coming. So the teams that are particularly sorted. You've also got a bit of psychological warfare, I always feel, with a street track, Andy, in as much as that some drivers love street tracks almost inherently. They go there feeling confidently, and other drivers sometimes are a little bit wary of this kind of track.
Yeah, we just heard Steve Simpson saying before that you know, he's never actually had experience around a street circuit. It's one thing driving a street circuit with no cars around you, and a completely another kettle of fish driving a street circuit with 25 cars around you. That's when it gets really difficult.
Just look at that crowd, 25,000-seater grandstand stadium, and the track pretty impressive too, Keith, because it's only been constructed over the last few months or so. So how good a job have they done out there?
I think they've done a brilliant job. Charlie Whiting of the FIA was out here to pass it just a few days ago. I think his recommendations were for a few more barriers, tyre walls in front of the barriers, I should say, just to make it a little bit safer. They've also changed the curbs in the chicanes because they've been clipping the front wings of the cars, and they've lowered the curves very slightly in the chicane so when they bounce through them they don't damage the cars. But apart from that, I think they've done a great job in Durban.
So the opening ceremony is about to take place. Plenty to look forward to. The sprint race not too far away now. All the atmosphere from Durban is reaching a fever pitch. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it is, of course, the sprint race.
Willing pilots flying, interfacing space and beyond. Build an army to come and find me.
Even if you find Earth, the price you pay will be too high.
Battlestar Galactica, Tuesday at 9 on Sky One.
The Mazda 6 range, now with the stunning MPS Sports Saloon.
Oh, nice bit of kit. Intel Centrino mobile technology, Diamond View widescreen DVD rewriter, 50 gig hard drive.
Now this amazing Packard Bell EasyNote A8550 is ultra lightweight and it's reduced by £200 to just $699. But be quick, our incredible sale ends soon.
Online or in store, you've got the best of both worlds.
Easy World.
Got a bit of a confession to make. Don't feel good about it. Stole a cigarette off my son without him knowing. Lit the cigarette up. Had 2 puffs. Doesn't mean that I'm giving up. It's made me even more determined to give up. I told Jessie because I don't want to feel as if I'm cheating on her. Turned around, she said, "Don't worry, Mum." She said, "You can do it." So not very proud of myself at the moment. Bit of a silly cow, aren't I?
Be strong and quit with nicotine.
Welcome back to Durban, South Africa. The drivers gearing up at the moment for the first race of the day. Street races, of course, to look forward to later on today. And this, the opening ceremony, as everyone's entertained and warming up for the action a little later on. Incidentally, residents in Durban have been selling their views from their balconies for up to $25,000 this weekend. There's a great atmosphere over there. And I have to say, Keith, that they are trying to create Monaco, aren't they?
They're not doing a bad job, are they? It's pretty colourful as far as things go, apart from the weather that's been a bit iffy this week so far. But the great thing about South Africa, they love their sport, and this is the first opportunity they've had for some time to see a street race here. Ben Edwards was talking about 1954, the last time that this particular part of the track that we're looking at now was used as a racetrack. Well, that's going back a long, long time, and they're starved of this kind of sport, especially street circuits.
Stephen Simpson in 16th for South Africa at the moment. That's where he starts in the sprint race, Andy. He won't be too delighted with that, will he, in front of his home crowd?
No, he's got a lot of pressure. Don't forget, in a home race as well, you're getting constantly bombarded by people wanting your attention. But I feel he's a very focused driver, and he's very realistic. And I think that it's going to be tough to get into the top 10, but it's possible because his pace is quite fast in qualifying.
Let's just run you through what is 1, 2 and 3 on the grid for the sprint race. France starting with Alexander Premat on pole for the first time, incidentally, in an A1 GP sprint race. Great Britain in second with Robbie Kerr, and Switzerland lining up in third with Neil Yarni in that Swiss car. Disappointment perhaps for Ralph Furman, though. He lines up in fifth after problems with the red flag in that final qualifying session yesterday. He certainly wasn't delighted by what happened there, was he, Andy?
He was very, very disappointed, and you know, there's nothing more annoying than finding somebody wobbling all over the road in front of you when you're on your hot lap. He had the potential to be up there in the top 2 or 3 drivers, and he's very disappointed, but he's a man on a mission, and I think he's quickest in warm-up. He's very focused.
OK, let's cross over for the national anthems in Durban.
Built here in South Africa and laid out. And as you can see, support from all over the world here this weekend.
Interestingly, 2 Italian drivers in this race this afternoon.
Yeah, first time we've seen that. The view from just across the pit lane as we are building up towards the first race of the day here in Durban on this brand new street track, very close to the ocean, the Indian Ocean rolling onto the beach here. It reminds me a little bit of Surfers Paradise, but this is a tremendous opportunity for South Africa, an important day, and it's time for their national anthem.
Africa, maluphakanyiswa uphondo lwayo, izwa imithandazo yethu, Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo, murena buluka sitshaba sa Jesu, ufedise dintwali matshwenyeho, usibuluke sitshaba sa Jesu, sitshaba sa South Africa, South Africa. Et diploma non se yemel, et dip deva non sie. Onze wege bertes, waar die grondse antwoord gee. Sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
And beautiful there, and a lot of respect from the fans, the crowds here in the packed grandstands in Durban as they prepare for international motorsport in this part of the world.
Yes, and also sung in 3 languages, which was very impressive, and of course representing the various strands that exist here in this province. And well, you can just look around the circuit, you can hear the cheers from the grandstands and just literally the flats, the apartments, the hotels. What a great view.
Yeah, fantastic view. We had a quick glimpse of Stephen Simpson trying to keep out of the way and gather some focus. It's been quite difficult for him, I think. Only 22 years old. He's actually from Cape Town as opposed to from Durban, but the pressure on him from the media this weekend has been fairly intense. He's still got a smile on his face, which is great to see, but he really does want to perform in front of his home crowd.
Yes, I mean, sometimes your driver relishes this kind of attention, others much more self-effacing, and I think Stephen is of that side of the ego, and really wants to get into his car and get on with the job, which is to do the best he can for his nation as well as for himself. But he is starting further down the grid than he would have liked to have done. I have to counsel him on this. Don't worry about it, because street races are not like races on a normal permanent racetrack. So many things will occur this afternoon that you've never experienced before, unless you've raced on a major street track somewhere in your history. So for Stephen Simpson, 16th place, not ideal, but don't worry about it. There's 20 laps or 30 minutes for this sprint race. A lot will change in those 30 minutes.
Yeah, lots to look forward to, and the anticipation building up here. Those are some of the apartments and hotels. That is a hotel right on the first corner, right on the hairpin there, and there's a whole line of hotels running down this Snell parade. It is a bit of a holiday spot in Durban, so an ideal opportunity for them to sell out, and I think they are pretty much sold out. All the hotels around here are sold out this weekend, thanks to the popularity, the expectation of this first A1 Grand Prix race, and everyone just looking forward to seeing the cars out there for the first time. We mentioned that France, of course, were so strong in qualifying yesterday. Great Britain will be joining them on the front row with their best qualifying performance so far. And they are, of course, hoping to try and put a bit more pressure on Brazil for that third place in the points. There you're looking at Matt Halliday on the left, Dick Bennett's on the right of Team New Zealand. And Matt Halliday's qualified well. He's on 7th place on the grid. Bit renowned as something of a street racer, was superb at Monaco in one of the support races a few years ago.
But Matt Halliday, like many people, including Ralph Fairman in the Team Ireland entry, were caught out in that final fourth qualifying segment when we had a series of red flags and the continuity that those nations in particular, they lost out. Ralph Fairman was fit to be tied. He was furious, and on top of it all, he got held up behind another car, and that ruined his last run. He felt he could have been in the front row of the grid alongside France. He thought France were probably just out of touch, but nevertheless, that's what you get. We keep emphasizing it. Street racing is different to permanent circuit racing.
There is a slight delay on the pit lane being open, so everyone is having to wait patiently at the moment on the timing monitors, still saying the pit lane opening has been delayed, so nervous times for the drivers, the adrenaline building up. We saw Thomas Enger there a moment ago. Enger was a little frustrated in qualifying yesterday because he actually was fastest in the first qualifying segment. Then he had a brush against the wall and never quite got back on terms. Still, he's on the third row of the grid.
Well, like many people, they got the same story. It was an if and or a but. And of course, 23 cars in 15 minutes. It's very difficult on a 2.04 mile or 3.283 kilometre circuit to find clear racetrack. And in fact, it looked as if the field had automatically divided itself up into two halves. One half would go out, and then 7.5 minutes later, the second half would go out. It seemed that the quicker cars went out together and the slower cars went out at the latter part of those qualifying sessions.
In the German pit there, and that's Timo Scheider at the wheel this weekend. He and Adrian Sutil have been sharing driving duties a bit throughout the A1 Grand Prix series to date. Always looks so relaxed as Timo Scheider is. He's always got a smile on his face. A little more experienced than some of the others, and perhaps his experience of driving German touring cars around very narrow, sometimes street circuits, might help him a bit this weekend. I know he was a little disappointed with his final qualifying position in 12th place. Felt there was more there. But there we're looking at Robbie Kerr getting his helmet on, preparing to come out onto in fact taking it off because of this delay. He's decided to actually cool down a bit. It is pretty warm and muggy here, so he doesn't want to overheat before things begin.
Yes, it's the track temperature we've seen sort of somewhere in the region of 40 degrees Celsius. That's pretty hot, and again on a track like this, while you don't have the big physical loads of high-speed corners and G-forces, it's the mental and the concentration side of driving a car around here that really is the exhausting thing. The one quick corner will pull some G-force, but it's only once a lap. It really is all about focus, keeping your concentration, and not literally. I mean, we've seen so many drivers here in various parts of the racetrack, particularly and surprisingly into turn 2, just have that a fraction of a second of a lapse of concentration, and they overrun the corner and they end up with the nose of the car stuck in the tire barrier.
Well, that's all part and parcel of street racing, isn't it? We're looking down over the casino there. This is a fairly new building. The restaurants, cinemas that it contains, it's not just the casino itself, and it's a real venue for families to come and have a good time in the evenings perhaps, or over the weekend, and it's been added to a lot this weekend. Now, because of the delay, we're going to see the cars coming out fairly soon now. In about 6 minutes they're going to be coming out onto the track, but it has delayed at the start of the race, so they will be half an hour later than they had originally planned to get the race underway. And I think they've been making very, very sure that all the spectator areas are exactly as they should be. I think some people perhaps have been getting into areas that they shouldn't have been, and they've made absolutely sure that all the prohibited areas are cleared. There's so much support here this weekend, people perhaps getting a bit too over enthusiastic.
Well, it's a totally natural thing to do. On a street track you're naturally very close to the action anyway, but you always want to get right as close as possible, to get behind the concrete barriers, to almost stick your head through the metal of the debris fencing. Human beings are human beings. You've got to control these situations, and the organisers here in Durban are acutely aware of their responsibilities. And while we see a short delay while that is carried out, it is in the interests of everybody to ensure that they get both an enjoyable day and a safe day.
Yes, well, the prohibited areas have been cleared, so the cars will be coming out in 5 minutes' time now. So Will Davison prepares to jump aboard the Australian car. He had a minor accident here on Saturday morning, and he was wearing some strapping on his forearm and wrist, but it looks as though he's fairly clear of that now.
Yeah, I think he got a crack when the steering wheel pulled violently. When the car hit the barrier, you get the wheel in your hand being pulled one way or the other, and it probably just gave him a little strain in his wrist. As Alan Docking, who runs the Team Australia entry, was not fairly scathing about it. He said it's purely cosmetic, but that's what you get with the Australians. They're a tough breed, and as they are here in South Africa as well. So no sympathy whatsoever for Will Davison, and in fact he had it off after practicing yesterday, and I think he's fine.
No excuses, eh? Well, on board the French car is Alexander Premat. This French car, which has been so dominant, certainly since after the first event at Brands Hatch. Brands Hatch might not have been perfect for them, but ever since then it's been absolutely superb. They've had 9 victories, and they finished the last 10 races in the points, and that's a remarkable achievement in itself. The next best 2 countries, Great Britain and Portugal, they've scored points in the last 2 races. That's the best sequence anybody else can come up with, and they've done it in 10 races in a row.
Yes, I think part of the key to that success, it's not just simply the pace that the team have got, and they clearly have got the pace of the entire field. It's also in the feature race when they do the mandatory pit stop. They've had just about perfect pit stops all the way through, with the exception of what took place at Brands Hatch. And that's an example for every other team to follow. But it's not just good luck or by chance. That's just working with it and doing it logically and consistently. And that's part of the major reason that they've done so well in the feature races.
We just saw Lebanon just now. That's Basil Shaban at the wheel of the car this weekend. He's had a few offs, I have to say, and he actually had a mishap again this morning. But the car is ready to go in fine fettle. He's had his best qualifying performance of the A1 Grand Prix season to date. He's in 18th position, and let's hope he can keep it all together come the race itself. And there we've got some French support by the looks of things in the crowd. Not too many of those flags out there, but it's good to see there is a real mixture here. Plenty of South African flags, but plenty of others as well.
Well, the majority of support, really, from the European perspective, of course, is for Jos the Boss, as we see the flag of Lebanon there being worn and portrayed clearly. But it is Jos Verstappen who consistently gets the greatest support wherever we go. And one of those banners right in front of the Dutchman's garage says, "Overtaking is an art." The eyes of Jos Verstappen looking out of his helmet, and then Jos Verstappen's name below it. So, well, the art of overtaking is something that Jos Verstappen knows a lot about, and there is the man himself sitting just clearing his head and clearing his eyes, and he will want to also make sure that starting on the left-hand side of the grid on the run down to turn 1, he is in a very good position directly behind Team GBR. So really keep an eye on that side of the grid. That's the side of the grid that will give you a much easier entry into turn 1 than that of pole position setter. That's France, and of course directly behind him Team Switzerland.
Now watch out for Team Ireland here as well. Ralph Furman Jr., who's qualified in 5th place, but he had the pace not only yesterday morning but again in the warm-up this morning. He was fastest overall, and he was so desperately frustrated, as we mentioned. He got held up in his final attempt after 2 attempts had been aborted in that final qualifying segment. So let's see what he can do from 5th place on the grid. He's shown tremendous pace with the car in race configuration. The question is, will he be able to overtake?
Well, victory for Ireland has been a long time coming. I mean, they're one of the teams that's really been in a position to challenge the dominance that we've seen from Team France, but it just for a variety of reasons hasn't come together. And in a sense, that frustration it overflowed almost after the 4th qualifying session. Ralph Fairman very, very upset indeed, both with the circumstance of red flags and also being delayed when the session got finally underway, and he was held up by another competitor. So it's something that Ralph Fairman wants to address. He wants to put Ireland on the winners' podium, and he's got the potential to do so. Possibly maybe the most likely driver here, with the background and experience he has on street racing, to challenge France.
Here we go then, the pit lane is about to open up. All the drivers are getting ready, they're in their cars, and I think the green flag is about to be waved at the end of the pit lane. The red flag is removed and the pit lane exit is open, so they'll be making their reconnaissance laps now. Remember, they can come into the pits at the end of this lap if they want to make any changes to the car, any last minute adjustments. They can come back into the pits, stop at their pit box, come back out again, but once they've come onto the grid, that's where they have to stay until the start of the race.
Indeed it is, and look at this, the charge out, everybody out immediately as they begin this process. So there's probably a lot of very tense drivers in the 23 cars. They've been slightly delayed because of these concerns about getting people back into the safe areas to watch the race. And the driver, you know, he knows the schedule, he's got it in the pit garage, he knows precisely to the second what he's required to do, and then any delay sort of, well, it just adds to the nerves. Once you get into the car and you start the process, which is what they're doing now, hopefully those nerves will dissipate and you'll be running probably on 100% proof adrenaline.
That's right. Well, the flag's waving for Stephen Simpson as the fans out on this part of the circuit see him come round in the South African car, and there's a huge amount of support as ever. And the car itself, of course, which they've given a name, Vulindlela, which means clear the way. It's written proudly on that rear wing. He's going to have to clear the way a little bit because he's starting in 16th place on the grid, so to try and score some points, he's got to get into the top 10, remember. Points scoring from 1st to 10th position. There is an extra point available for fastest lap from either of the 2 races to watch out for.
Yes, and those eagle-eyed viewers who watched our qualifying yesterday may notice a slight difference at turns 6 and 7. That was an area where we saw a number of drivers, particularly in the practice sessions, getting caught out. And there's been a change made, particularly in 7, that they've flattened out some of the curbing there, that if you want to straight line it, because you think you're not going to make it cleanly through turn 7, you will have the opportunity to do so. It still may not be the easiest of options, but hopefully it'll result in maybe less damage than we saw over the previous 2 days of running. Abuse it, take advantage of it, but you will be penalised.
Well, that's the way it goes. We certainly have lost a few nose wings and nose cones for a variety of reasons, not just because of curbs here this weekend. Most of them are deciding to come back into the pits here rather than coming around onto the grid. That is their right, of course, and they can make any changes they want to, or indeed just drive through the pits at a slow speed and then come back out again.
Yes, and again, particularly on a street track, it will have changed character considerably, but we see Team Ireland deciding to come, in fact, straight onto the grid. So one of the few teams that have opted not to do an additional lap is Ralph Fairman in the Team Ireland, and he'll make his way onto the 3rd row of the grid. He qualified in 5th place for this 20-lap or 30-minute sprint race, depending how the race unfolds. So Ralph Fairman, I think he is, if not the first, he is certainly the only entrant and nation to come onto the pit lane. He's obviously very confident. Certainly the performance that he provided this morning in that 15-minute warm-up session, he was immediately up to race speed and ended up quickest of the entire 23-car field.
Yeah, he's been looking good all weekend, and based on his performances in Dubai as well, there's no doubt that they've got a very good setup on the Irish car. Portugal also went well this morning in the warm-up, but they didn't do quite so well in qualifying, a bit further back than we had expected to see them, down in 15th place on the grid. And Alvaro Parent just perhaps overdrove slightly. We watched one of his qualifying runs and it did look as though he was sliding the car around a lot.
Well, he's got the natural speed. We saw that at different points throughout the 2 days of running, but when it came to doing one of the 4 15-minute qualifying sessions, it's almost as if the pressure got to him, and it's very easy to overdrive a race car regardless whether you've got maturity or, as the case may be, and some of the drivers a lot less maturity.
Now, Malaysia, exciting news for them this weekend. They've unveiled a new sponsor on the car. It is the car manufacturer, Proton. So it's a big deal for the Malaysian team, big high-profile sponsor, and they're looking to improve on their current position in the championship. They've been doing well. They've scored consistently throughout the season so far. They're currently 9th in the points on 33, only 1 point behind the Netherlands. Netherlands slightly further up on the grid on this occasion, but nonetheless, Alex Young doing all of the driving duties this weekend, and with a good opportunity to score well, starting in 10th.
Yes, so Alex Young, he did blot his copybook briefly on Friday, but a mature driver, he knows precisely what to do. He's also an intelligent man, and that's a big, big plus in a circuit like this.
Big smiling eyes from Ananda Mikkola. He was a bit of a star in the final qualifying segment and improved his position to 11th. So as cars getting a little bit of a feel for things, Stephen Simpson we're riding with here on board the South African car, and he's actually been allowed past today. I'm not sure which car was ahead of him, might have been the Austrian car, but whichever, it gives us a chance to have a look around. Behind him we've now got the Dutch car with a black nose cone, because he bashed his other one there this morning through that corner, and he's now following Stephen Simpson around the rest of the lap.
Yes, the drivers just want to get a feel for the circuit, so they're not running at full race speed, but they're running sufficiently quickly to get some indication as to whether the racetrack has changed its character and personality. And I can guarantee you that it probably will do through the course of the sprint race, and then as you go into the feature race, double the duration, either 40 laps or 1 hour. And that's another feature of racetracks such as here in Durban. The racetrack gets more rubber down, inevitably more grip will come, and the lap times will reduce. So it's quite a changing situation for everyone to have to take on board.
Through turn 9 there, and another big crowd in the grandstands up there, up to turn 10, both of them are second gear corners. Then they begin to accelerate out of here, quickly up to 100, 130, 140 miles an hour, and then taking this left-hander, turn 12, at about 135 miles an hour mid-corner. And when they're on a full racing lap, won't be quite so quick at the moment. And then down to the final bend. Now, this means that Stephen Simpson is going to bring his car onto the grid. Under racing conditions, they're back down to second gear again. They're about 65 miles an hour. And that then brings them out onto the pit straight, pretty close to the pit wall as well.
Yes, a corner that is, you're always tempted to go into it a little bit faster than you should do. So it's one of those corners, as are many on these street tracks, it's a question of being slow in, get the power on, and get out of the car, out of the corner cleanly, and of course without traction control, make sure that you don't get too much wheel spin, which will of course slow you down on the exit of the corner.
South Africa currently lying 15th in the championship points, so hoping that they can pick up a few today. Many of the cars now beginning to make their way onto the grid. One or two still going through the pit lane. You could see Brazil, Nelson Piquet Jr. deciding to do another lap.
Yes, it's not been an easy weekend for Team Brazil and Nelson Piquet Jr. They had an incident on Friday, and for a variety of reasons they've never recovered their what I would call their natural position, though in fact in that fourth qualifying session Nelson Piquet was a driver who put in one of the quickest laps. So singular lap, very quick. Combined over two, not so good. So Nelson Piquet Jr. was on the fourth row of the grid in 8th place, but probably at least 2 rows further back than he would wish to be.
The blue car of Italy coming up through the middle there with a new driver at the wheel. That's Max Busnelli, and it's good to see another driver join in the ranks of A1 Grand Prix here this weekend. Drivers tending to get out of the car now because we've got a wait until the formation lap takes place, so they might as well keep as cool as possible in these hot and humid conditions. Indian car, you can see the back of that's lined up on the grid now. Mexico as well. Mexico's had a bit of a disappointing time. As for the French, well, showing their true class once again with that stunning pair of laps that they did in qualifying.
I'd be very interested to watch how Alexander Premat takes the start. He is on pole position, but he's on the right of track now. If you think back to the round when he last drove, which was in Malaysia, we saw a very aggressive move coming from Alexander Premat when he was trying to block out Team Switzerland. He may well try a similar move here. Bear in mind he's got Team GBR alongside him, and Robbie Kerr is one of the finest of the racers. I mean, you can be a racing driver, but to be a racer is a different caliber of racing driver. Robbie Kerr is a racer. He's not going to give an inch, and I just hope that Alexander Premat and Robbie Kerr acknowledge that they both want to be on the same part of racetrack, and there's only room for one car to do so.
One important aspect of A1 Grand Prix racing is the use of the power boost button, and that gives them an extra 30 horsepower. When they get on the button on the steering wheel, it gives them a boost in power, and that could be crucial at the start of the race. And I just wonder how many of them are going to be hard on that power boost button down to the first corner.
I would certainly think the front 2 or 3 rows will take advantage of it. At least they'll have one shot of it. Then thereafter they've got 3 more shots in this 20-lap sprint race, 8 in total in the 40-lap feature race.
So that's a key part, tactics, strategy, using the power boost button and still getting the car slowed down in time for the first hairpin. They'll be arriving more quickly, braking points will change, they'll be on cold tyres. The drivers have an awful lot of things to consider when they head down towards that first bend. So the crowd really getting into the mood now, into the swing of things. The weather looking pretty good. Still, we've got a bit of cloud cover, but in a way that's helped. It's making the sunshine a little less intense than it was for qualifying yesterday, when we saw a lot of parasols and umbrellas up just to try and get a little bit of protection. Most people wearing caps to keep the worst of the sun off them, but today it is that little easier to sit in a grandstand seat all day and not get burnt to a crisp. But as you can see, the apartments and the hotel rooms are filled with people hoping to get a glimpse of the action here on the Durban street track.
Yes, and there'll be parties all afternoon and all evening here with lots of that superb South African wine, the Chardonnays and the Sauvignon Blancs, and for the bigger drinkers, of course, the Pinotage, the national wine of South Africa.
Yeah, it's a huge event, and of course Formula One racing, Grand Prix racing was immensely popular in South Africa for a long time, but it's been a good few years now since they've had Formula One Grand Prix racing in this country, and A1 now is what everybody's watching here this weekend. Stephen Simpson is the man that many of these people are supporting. Let's go and hear from him on the grid.
Stephen, you've got, I count, 21,544 people immediately behind you, all know your name. How does that make you feel at the start of a race?
It's very nice. Such a great feeling to have all the support. I mean, I really want to do so well, more than ever for them. So it's brilliant. I mean, I can't wait. Qualifying wasn't the best, but anything can happen in the race, especially on a street circuit. So I'll be doing my best.
The last time I spoke to you on the grid, you finished on the podium. Is that likely today? It's a pretty tough order on this circuit, isn't it, overtaking?
I was just thinking about it, actually. Certainly, I mean, anything's possible. In Dubai, I slipped to 16th in the sprint race and ended up finishing 3rd in the main race, so anything's possible.
And how are you managing to stay cool? You've got some technology in your trousers. Can we see this? Can we just tilt down? Look at this. In Stephen's pants. What is that, Stephen?
Yes, very sophisticated ice pack. Just trying to cool myself down. Be quite humid, and certainly at the end of today I think I would have lost quite a bit of weight.
Well, you've always been a cool customer in my books. Stephen, turn around and give him a big wave for me.
Yeah, it's great. So much support.
Good luck for the race.
Well, I think somebody should tell Stephen that he doesn't need the ice pack stuffed down his pants. He wants it in his helmet, because that's the part of his anatomy that will actually guarantee him to get through this 20-lap sprint race.
Very true. Well, I'm not sure if they've got much in the way of cooling systems in most of the cars, but they could do with it. But they do have a shorter race to go, first of all. It's not as if it's a long endurance race. The first race, sprint race, maximum duration of 30 minutes, but it's a 20-lap encounter. Hopefully we'll get all 20 laps in within those 30 minutes and not too many safety car periods.
And really, this is where a driver's fitness will pay dividends. Not the physical side, as we mentioned, it's purely on the concentration side. But of course, that's totally parallel to your physical fitness. If you've got a poor physical fitness, you'll have a poor concentration standard. So many of the drivers do tend to spend time. In fact, Ralph Fairman, one of many who were off after Christmas, went and did some physical training up in the altitude in the Alps. Others, Matthias Lauda, took the opportunity. He went to Indonesia, in fact, prior to the race being delayed, but he then went down to Bali and spent a lot of time in Bali doing a bit of fitness training. I don't know quite what sort of fitness training camps they've got in Bali, I have to say.
I'm not sure it's quite the same as the one that Ralph Furman was at. No, he was Furman was cross-country skiing for up to 6 hours a day, and then he was joining the Olympic rowers for 3-hour sessions in the gym, so he certainly should be in pretty good shape. Now we can see Robbie Kerr's car there, a little further down the grid, the Malaysian team starting in 10th place. Big weekend with a new sponsor. Let's go and hear from driver Alex Young.
Alex, there's been plenty of ups and downs for you this weekend, but it's also a big weekend because you've got a new sponsor on your car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're very happy to announce Proton as our sponsor. You know, it's such a great brand and car company that we're very happy to be involved with them.
And how have you think it's gone so far for you? Because you've been quick around there. There's a few bumps that you've made friends with.
Yeah, we've been quick. We've had a couple of incidents, lost a couple of noses. So we really don't have any spare parts anymore. So we're really going to take it easy through the first race, just get through it before trying to have a bit more of a push in the second race.
Is this a circuit that you like?
It's a street race, you know, so it's always tough and tricky, and there are going to be cars going off all over the place. It's demanding for sure.
Alex, thanks very much.
Thanks.
So Alex Young looking forward to what he knows is going to be a tough one. He's raced in Formula One, he's raced in champ cars as well, so he's got street track experience, but even he has made a couple of mistakes this weekend, and he'll be hoping to avoid those mistakes when he gets into the race conditions themselves. So as the sea rolls in gradually, just a few metres behind us here in the commentary box, we're looking down onto the grid, a bit of heat haze around and still building up to the start. We've got a little while to go before the race gets underway, and that little delay will of course just have increased that anxiety, that adrenaline a little bit before we get things going. The French car though starting on pole position, it is Alexander Premat who's looking to maintain that amazing record of French success. Let's see whether he can do it and what sort of mood he's in right now. Let's hear from Alexander Premat.
Alex, once again, pole position belongs to Team France, but you're on the inside for this awkward first corner. Is that the best place to be?
Yeah, I think this is a really good place because I am inside on the first corner, and so I was in the front. So I think I will take a really good start to be in first after the first lap, and it should be a really good job.
You've got Robbie Kerr alongside you, who seems to be improving in form as the series goes on. Are you concerned?
Yeah, for sure. I think he improved very a lot since the beginning of the year, and so maybe for the rolling start he improved very a lot to do a really great start, and so this is a good battle.
But you're a pretty good starter yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. This is really important, this race, to take a good start.
Well, let's hope it stays clean, Alex. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Alexander Premat, the man who was, when he was last in the car, as you mentioned, John, was in Malaysia when he took those two feisty wins.
Yes, he did, and I'm almost certain Alexander Premat is not going to stay on the right-hand side of the racetrack down into turn one, because that's the dirtier side of the racetrack. He will, in my opinion, move very abruptly, acutely across the track to try and block Robbie Kerr, Team GBR. But of course he does leave then the inside open for somebody to take a flyer down the inside. It's a gamble. Whatever he does, if he stays totally to the right-hand side of the racetrack, I don't think he'll get around the corner.
Well, also on the grid, having qualified well, is Team New Zealand. Matt Halliday starts 7th. Let's hear from him.
Matt Halliday starting 7th on the grid. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, we're pretty happy. I think we missed a little bit of an opportunity to be further up with a mistake on my last lap in qualifying, but you know, it's a street circuit. I'm sure a lot of people have got the same story. Yeah, we're happy, yeah.
Tell us about the sign that's behind you on your car. Colin Giltrap's not here this weekend.
Yeah, well, unfortunately he couldn't be here, so yeah, we thought we'd be nice and hopefully try and bring him a trophy home as well, but yeah, that might cheer him up.
What about this circuit? Is this a circuit you like?
Yeah, it's an awesome circuit. They've done a great job. It's really fast. It's really interesting. The first corner is going to be amazing, I think, for everyone to get around there, but we're going to be fighting hard and trying to bring home a good result for Team New Zealand.
Best of luck, Matt. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Yes, happy birthday to Colin Giltrap and the team principal who will be watching this at home, and let's just hope that Matt Halliday lives up to a great effort in qualifying today.
Well, wisdom teeth are no joy to have removed, and the best, I suppose, remedy would be just to see Team New Zealand get onto the podium here in the sprint race.
So, as we look down, we've got Jos Verstappen on the grid in 4th place. He did have a minor off this morning. I wonder how he's going to go today. Let's hear from him.
Jos, it didn't go too well for you at the last race, but it's nice to see you smiling at this one. This is your best qualifying position yet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an A1, and it's definitely a best qualifying position. We're 4 now. The only problem is that we can't overtake like on a normal circuit, but I think into the first corner will be very, very challenging. It's the only opportunity to have, so we'll watch out the first corner.
Now, South Africa is almost home from home for a Dutchman, isn't it? Can you understand the Afrikaans here?
Not yet. I haven't met somebody who speaks a bit of Dutch in it, so but it doesn't matter. You know, we're here for racing and not to learn the language.
I'm here for the culture as well. Jos, nice to talk to you again, and good luck for the race.
Thank you.
Could be one to watch, Jos Verstappen. He's always a street fighter, and he's had his accident. He had it this morning. That's why he's got the black brand new nose cone on that they haven't had a chance to colour up to the rest of the orange. But right ahead of him there is the British car. Robbie Kerr with his best ever qualifying position. First time he's been on the front row, and surely a victory is not far off for Team GBR. Several second places they've had recently. But let's go down to the man who's starting on the third row, Thomas Enger of the Czech Republic.
Thomas, you've got plenty of experience on street circuits. How does this compare?
Well, it's completely different than what I'm used to do, let's say. There is minus 10, minus 20 degrees in Czech Republic, and there's 30 degrees plus and humid in here. So it's going to be very, very difficult. And it doesn't matter if it's street course or whatever, or normal track, but at this moment I got a lot of experience. I'm going to try to stay without any problem, you know, away from the troubles, and that's the key to start on a good position for the future race and try to score as many points as possible.
Thomas, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Great deal of maturity, of course, on that third row together. We've got Thomas Enger and Ralph Furman of Team Ireland, two of the more experienced drivers. We've got Jos Verstappen, as we've seen, up near the front. Those guys have done plenty of racing over the years on street courses as well as permanent tracks.
Yeah, but there are two chargers directly behind, with Brazil behind Czech Republic and New Zealand behind Ireland. So while they may be a little bit cautious going into turn one, they've got to remember two young guys anxious to make up positions directly behind.
Let's hear from Neil Yarney now.
Neil, you're not on pole this time, which is unusual in the last couple of races. How do you fancy your chances on a circuit so awkward for overtaking?
I think I have to say come see, come sigh in the end. I think it's a very difficult circuit and a lot of things possible. The aim is just to finish the race and to get as many points as possible.
It's looking good for you with a possible chance at the championship for Team Switzerland, isn't it?
Well, for the moment it's a little bit a big gap to France, but we could have catched up in Dubai. I hope we can catch up this time. But as I say, we driving from race to race and try to win.
And how are you managing to stay cool? I was talking to Stephen Simpson earlier on. He had a cool gel pack. What's that thing in your hand?
Well, that's some cool Red Bull inside to cool me down.
I may have to borrow it as well. Neil, good luck for the race.
Thank you.
Team Switzerland then, the third nation to have won an A1 Grand Prix race. That was last time out in Dubai. The three nations, of course, Brazil, France and Switzerland. But Neil would like to add to that win tally, if at all possible. For the moment, he's going to keep cool.
Well, he's doing the correct thing. He's got his ice pack on his head. And Stephen Simpson, we saw a little earlier that he had it stuffed down his overalls. Well, stick it in your head, Stephen. It'll help you.
Talking of Brazil as a race winner, let's hear now from Emerson Fittipaldi.
Emerson, street racing in South Africa, does this bring back a few memories?
It's great to be here. I mean, you feel the emotion of the crowd, everybody standing up, waiting for the race. The place is full. This is what should be A1 on every country go. I mean, South Africa has been great to us.
You're not starting where I'm sure you'd like to be starting. How are things? How is Nelson in the car?
Well, the first race, I think Nelson can move up. We hope it'll be a safe race. It'll be a lot of crash, a lot of incidents. I mean, it's a very tough track, and I hope he can go over the first 2-3 laps and then attack and move forward. And I hope the second race will be in front.
Emerson, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Certainly due some luck are Brazil. They were out of it completely with two effective non-finishes in Dubai, and they need to get their championship campaign back on track.
Yes, Emerson has been down in South Africa quite a lot over the last few months. He himself took part in a race for old-timer Grand Prix drivers and did pretty well. He gave that much younger Nigel Mansell a good seeing to, and really was all over him like a rash. Unfortunately, he ran out of laps before he could get ahead.
Well, they were down here in South Africa at the end of last year. Now here we are with A1 Grand Prix, and Nelson Piquet Jr. hoping to move slightly further up the order, as we heard, with a patient start. That's what he's looking for, get through those first few laps as safely as possible. Further down the grid, the colours of the Mexican team, they were a bit disappointed with their qualifying performance, and David Martinez, who's at the wheel of the car this weekend, he has competed for them in the past. He did the meeting in Germany earlier this year, but hasn't had much luck so far here this weekend.
Well, if you lose your confidence on a street track, remember they're generally bumpier, they're naturally dirtier. There's a lot of things that are different, and if you have an early shunt, then you become a little bit tense in yourself. You don't allow yourself to run free and let the car run free. And it's the judgment and the balance between the two that enables you to find the speed. So David Martinez would really, I think, like to get through this sprint race trouble-free, and then, of course, have a chance to do something a little bit better when he gets into the 40-lap feature race.
Mexico have a home race coming up in a little while. Not the next race on the calendar, but it's coming up in several weeks' time. And so do the United States, of course. We've got Mexico, Monterrey and Laguna Seca coming up in the latter stages of A1 Grand Prix. The United States team's qualified 13th here. Let's hear from team principal Rick Weininger.
Rick, how's Phil? He's sitting in the car at the moment trying to keep cool. It's got warm now.
It has gotten warm. He's feeling great today. He's really, really, really anxious to start this off.
And there's a fantastic sense of occasion here.
Oh, this is unbelievable. What a way to start off the second half of our season. This is over the top. But you know what? When you think about Tony, when you think about the Shake, when you think about Tokyo, you don't expect anything less than this. So we're very, very pleased. This is so exciting, and it kind of really gives us a momentum to go into California in March.
Thanks very much, Rick.
Thank you.
Yeah, so their home race coming up, not too distant. We may well see Brian Herter back in the car for Mexico and Laguna Seca, because he's got great experience of those two tracks from his Champ Car days. But there are the Stars and Stripes being waved proudly, so they've got their supporters here this weekend as well, who go a bit crazy up there at the moment.
Well, I think they're seeing some of the big diamond screens all around the racetrack, and they realise that they're on screen, so they're just maxing out. Of course, they're at just the exit of turn 1. That's that very tight and relatively narrow on the exit corner, which will be first gear, and everybody's got to be cautious coming down here, particularly those cars further down the field, because they'll be still in full power when the field ahead of them will be on the brakes, and you get that normal motorway concertina effect. So it just requires a lot of common sense, nothing more or less than that.
Yeah, so Giebler hoping to keep his nose clean. He did have that little spin in qualifying yesterday, not really doing any damage, but it affected his chance of moving up into the top 10, which he felt was certainly a viable proposition. But let's see what he does in the race. Raced sensibly in Dubai, and looks like a promising talent for the future. Looking down there at Team Ireland once again, Ralph Furman with another former Macau F3 race winner at the wheel there. Ireland could be in good shape, but let's just take another look at how the cars line up for the sprint race here in Durban on the first street track to be used in A1 Grand Prix. It's the series leaders, France, who'll set the pace and lead away from pole position, with Great Britain, then Switzerland, a race winner this year already, and the Netherlands yet to score a podium finish. This could be their first opportunity to do that. Ireland and the Czech Republic chased by New Zealand and Brazil on the 4th row. Canada and Malaysia on row number 5. Sean McIntosh for Canada, he's been competitive all weekend. Then we've got Indonesia's Ananda Mikula, Germany's Timo Scheider, then it's United States and Italy, new boy Max Brusnelli. Portugal and South Africa on the 8th row. The 9th row sees Australia and Lebanon. Then it's Mexico and China, and it's a happy new Chinese year today as well for Teng Yijiang. Austria and India are back on the 11th row, and Pakistan will be starting at the very back. And remember, it's not Adam Khan in that car, because he had a crash yesterday and unable to race here today. So Enrico Toccacello will be going out in the Pakistan car here this afternoon. Looking down over the grid, and with Great Britain lining up on the front row of the grid, it could be an opportunity here for Robbie Kerr, perhaps to take his first win in the series. I wonder what his team boss thinks. Let's hear from John Surtees.
John, we're about to get chucked off the grid, so I better be quick. How's the feeling in the Great Britain camp?
We're very optimistic. Of course, we'll be watching that first corner, but if we get round there okay, I think we can be there.
John, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's their hope, and let's hope that they really can get safely through that first corner. That is the main concern for all these guys. And, well, not everybody's deciding to come and watch the street racing here today. Other ways of enjoying yourselves here in Durban, the holiday city, the playground of South Africa, and that's what some people are deciding to do. Although the beach is not quite as busy today as it was yesterday.
Well, of course, the beaches are very closely monitored by lifeguards and whatever, so at different times of the day, depending on the tide and other reasons. But first thing this morning, getting up out of our bed, 6 o'clock, pulling the curtains back, the beach was crowded with surfers, and that appears to be the time the surfers really want to get out on the water. Not very many now, and of course as we get to the end of the day they'll be probably back out again.
Yeah, well, warmers are being removed from the cars now as we see the teams beginning to leave the grid. We are getting ready now for the formation lap and for this first race here in Durban on this brand new street track, just about 2 miles in length, 3.2 kilometers long, with a top speed of just over 160 miles an hour at the end of the longest straight, and then hard on the brakes. Quite a few second gear corners, the sort of thing you tend to expect on a street course. 2 corners that are sometimes taken in first gear, very, very tight. And on the opening lap, there's no doubt going to be some sort of trouble, some sort of incident at either or both of those corners. And then they've got that fast sweeping left-hander to deal with around the casino. Big challenge coming up for all these drivers. Some of them have raced on street tracks before, but several have not.
Well, it's a bit of a leap in the dark, as you said, Ben, for a number of the drivers here, and hopefully they've been spoken to by their teams and just counselled and told to take it easy, because nobody wants to see an incident, and most of all they want to get everybody through to the feature race. It would be a great shame if cars were damaged and consequently couldn't take part in the 40-lap feature race. So just prudence, please, guys, take it easy. I know you're all racing drivers, you all want to win in the first corner or the first lap. Well, you never win in the first corner of the first lap. All you can do is lose.
Yeah, here we go. Engines firing up now, and the grid is being cleared. The pace car will lead them around, and remember, when they come around once again, it will be to start under rolling start conditions. The formation will be side by side, and they'll be looking for that good, clean getaway. Just waiting for all the personnel to leave the grid, and it will be France and Great Britain to lead them away, of course. The French looking for yet another victory. They're looking for win number 10 in A1 Grand Prix. And as the safety car moves away, they will then be given the signal to get going. Watch out for Jos Verstappen, who'll be starting from the second row for Team Netherlands. There's the green flag being given. They can put a bit of rubber down, but it's not very relevant because it's a rolling start, remember, when they come back around next time.
Well, the field makes its way down and everybody giving it lots of throttle to lay rubber. As you mentioned, Ben, it is a rolling start, so it's a little consequence, but it does in effect, particularly for those cars that are lining up on the right-hand side of the racetrack, looking down to turn 1, hopefully clear away some of the gravel and the grit and the sand and whichever that may be lying there overnight, and obviously up from other events that have been taking place here over the weekend. Yeah, there's been a support program. We've seen the debut of the A3 series as well, a junior single-seater class that's been racing here this weekend, and one of the South African members of the A1 South African team, Gavin Cronje, was going very, very well, won the race yesterday. But as we watch the A1 cars now heading around, they're coming up towards turns 3, 4 and 5 to braking on a corner into this one. Now just watch as they come out of turn 5, as they run up to turn 6 and 7. Look for the changes, not on the left-hand side, it'll be at the bottom of the screen. The area where that curbing is, which is slowly coming into view, you'll see there's a small, well, we've lost it now, there's a little area there where if a car does get it wrong, turning into 6, and they've got a chance to correct it, they can use that escape route in effect to avoid coming into contact with the curbing in turn 7.
I noticed that the Pakistan car, which is being driven, remember, by Enrico Tocacello, will be starting from the pit lane, not from the back of the grid. So we'll see that Pakistan car coming from the pit lane, and I think he'll be under fairly strict instructions not to get too involved in causing any problems with the other competitors out there. It's going to be more, in a way, just a chance to get the car out on circuit for it to be seen. Great shame, of course, that Adam can't race today. But the front runners, the leaders, are heading around. We're about 2/3 away around the lap now. Looking down, you can see the white and red colours of Canada. Yellow and white for the black nose cone this time for Malaysia. There's the German car, Timo Scheider, hoping to use his experience to the fore.
And yes, this will be the first time the 23-car grid has ever been close together like this. So a very tense moment indeed for the entire grid to make sure that when they come around turn 13, they'll be coming onto the grid. There's the car, it will peel off, and there it goes. So it's all now in the control of Alexander Premat and Team France.
It's France versus Great Britain on the front row, the two great rivals. Behind them, it's another European competition between the Netherlands and Switzerland. There we are on board with the Czech Republic, starting on the 3rd row with Ireland alongside. They come through the last corner, that blast off time. Away we go. Look at Holland trying to get down the middle. The Netherlands trying to take second place, but they now try and sort themselves out into turn 1, and Jos Verstappen trying to get Robbie Kerr. The battle behind has gone wrong for Indonesia and for Italy.
Yes, Andrew Mikola got it sideways, then Italy had nowhere to go, but the lead is France, Team GBR, the Netherlands in third, Czech Republic fourth. Ireland has dropped back to sixth, having started fifth.
Canada and Brazil were side by side there, but they both got through turn 2 safely, and Brazil is ahead of Canada, followed by Germany.
So there's another car, that's the Malaysia car. Alex Young, he's also had contact. We assume that was in turn 2, with Lebanon also out on the opening lap.
Well, it was always going to happen, but so the leaders got through there safely. Look at Thomas Enger for the Czech Republic. He's in fourth. The Czechs in fourth. Switzerland fifth. Ireland in sixth place. So Ralph Furman didn't get away particularly well. But Ralph, on the side by side, Robbie Kerr for Great Britain goes straight on down at turn 9. Loses second, loses third. He's back in fourth position, and now he's under attack from Switzerland.
Well, he took a massive punch going down in turn 1 into turn 9, and it was a gamble. If he got away with it, he'd been a hero. He's lost 2 places, but it's indicative of Robbie Kerr. He's not here to come second, he's here to take victory, and that's GBR's first victory. Not this time. Waved yellow flag on the exit, and there we see again safety car now lined up to ensure that the entire field will go single car behind the safety car, and when this car then goes back into the pit lane, the race will recommence, this time line astern.
Well, dramatic first lap as we expected, and the safety car is out at the end of it, and poor Indonesia, they so desperately just wanted to keep that car in one piece to look forward to their race in a couple of weeks' time, but there's contact there with Italy. Nothing much you can do about it in these tight situations. It's a domino effect as the front runners begin to break. Difficult for those in the midfield to get through cleanly, and as they come around this time. Just quickly notice, by the way, that South Africa has gained a few places from its grid position. They're up to 13th place, so the first lap's gone okay for the home team.
So there's the start of the field at the front. Premac just put the hammer down and went, but watch Verstappen coming through, trying to split France and Team GBR again, brake very late and didn't give the opportunity, but Verstappen is there, and in fact Verstappen probably had just got half a nose ahead, but there was the incident, and Mikola got his car a little out of shape. Italy was right against the barrier, and he found himself nowhere to go.
Let's look in the background, see if we can see the beginning of that accident. Very hard to see. Brazil got squeezed wide. Italy got
I think it touched maybe the back of a Mikola's car, which turned him into him.
Yeah.
And consequently, that was the incident.
There was a bump there for the Malaysian car, and then the Lebanon car, I think, was in a separate incident. So there was Italy and Indonesia coming together. This was the view from on board Verstappen when Kerr of Great Britain tried to take the lead. Verstappen obviously got through into second place, and Kerr did well to get back on track.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big gamble to take going down, but he had the momentum coming down the straight. He had the speed, he gets alongside. But of course, it locks up, and we've seen this happen so often with Team GBR locking up a front wheel. Not so often the case here so far this weekend, but when it counts, he locks it up, and of course he can't get the car slowed down sufficiently, and he loses not 1 place but 2 places, and now is running in 4th.
And then we saw that was on the first lap as well, the damaged front wing, I'm afraid, for Alex Young, and the bits and pieces being thrown across the track. Cars in several places. There's our new driver, Max Busnelli. Well, his A1 career hasn't lasted very long, sadly, has it? He's trying to talk it through. I'm not sure quite what happened. It did look as though it just all got a bit tight in the midfield.
Yeah, but Busnelli was right against the barrier, had nowhere to go, and of course Team Indonesia were ahead of him, and I suspect, it's hard to tell from that shot, there may have been a little bit of contact which threw Indonesia's car sideways, and then when it bit, it just went across the track into the barrier and trapped Team Italy.
So let's just run through the order. It's France, the Netherlands, then the Czech Republic, with Great Britain down to 4th as a result of their attempt to take the lead that didn't work. Switzerland 5th, Ireland 6th, New Zealand in 7th, Brazil 8th, Canada 9th, then Germany 10th. Portugal is currently 11th ahead of Australia, South Africa 13th, Mexico 14th, China is 15th ahead of Austria 16th, India 17th, the United States, now I don't know what happened to Phil Giebler, but they went from 13th to 18th place on that opening lap. USA way down there, Pakistan, who started from the pit lane, in 19th position.
It looked like Team USA were overtaking a car at the back of the field. Now whether that's because of I don't know, normally you are not permitted to overtake. The line of cars has got to stay in that line, so there was some overtaking, maybe simply because he had dropped back and then was regaining the position, but really you should stay in line and not let drop back, move forward, do whatever.
Our view from the safety car as we see France leading them around. Helmet's still on down there at the first corner. and let's hope that the cars can be repaired for the second race, for the feature race, as the marshals go to work. There's some 180 marshals here this weekend, and they've been drawn from all over South Africa, with a long distance to any permanent race facility to here in Durban. They haven't had many locals who've got marshalling experience, but they have brought in very experienced marshals from other parts of the country.
They do, and there's a lot of motorsport taking place throughout South Africa, be it two wheels, be it four wheels, karting, whatever. So they just simply drew on the expertise and experience across the country, and they were all no doubt delighted to come down to Durban for this inaugural street race with A1GP cars racing this first race. Again, you see what's going on. I don't know what Australia and USA are doing. They're not meant to be getting alongside each other. That is not what running behind the safety car is all about.
No, that's right. Everybody concentrating on trying to keep their tyres in good shape, trying to keep them clean, staying on line. And of course there's a bit of bunching going on as they follow the safety car around the lap. France got away very cleanly, John. I mean, they did everything they had to do from that inside position. Really were under attack from Great Britain, and I wondered for a while whether there was going to be a problem between the Netherlands and Great Britain, but they managed to sort themselves out.
Yes, they did. They got very close together, but did a very good job, Netherlands and Team GBR. They gave each other sufficient room to work, and that's really all you can ask of drivers in a racing situation, especially on the opening lap into turn one. It was a battle for second place, and it stayed with Team GBR. Unfortunately, Robbie Kerr threw it away with a very audacious move down the outside coming into turn 9.
There's been a reclassification, I noticed. You mentioned the USA car was moving up. He has actually gone past a few, and it may be that he's been told by race control that he can do that. The view at turn number 1 as the clear-up operation continues. The Italian and Indonesian cars being winched away or craned on the back of a truck to somewhere where hopefully they can be sorted out by their teams in preparation for the feature race. Well, we've seen an incident there between Italy and Indonesia, and I think we can now hear what the Indonesian reaction to that was.
John Allen, team manager for Indonesia. Any idea how badly damaged the car is?
Well, obviously not at the moment. As soon as we get the car back, we can assess the damage, see how quickly we can repair the car, and see if we can get it out again.
How confident are you that the boys can do a job and put the car together no matter what the state is?
Well, it really does depend on the state of the car, but the guys will work really hard to get it out, and we've got all the bits we usually need, so we'll see what we've got to deal with.
And Nanda's done a good job though this weekend, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done a really good job. It's a shame when all the effort and the work the driver and the guys have put together has, comes to a stop at the first turn, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
And you've got a chance of putting it right in the next race, hopefully though.
Well, we hope so. We'll certainly be trying, that's for sure.
Good luck, John.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
The Lebanese car back out on circuit, so Pasil Shaban, despite that little mishap, didn't go off track, but he came to a stop. They've got that car going, so he's now at the back of the queue there. USA now being shown as 12th, so whether there was some situation under the safety car where he suddenly lost some places and was allowed to regain them, it does appear to be that way. And just watching that replay once again, it certainly looked as though maybe Italy was trying a bit down the outside and Indonesia just...
Well, I mean, looking at it, I suspect that Mikola was actually moving from right across to the left and probably wasn't aware of the proximity of Italy, and it was, if you want to play a portion blame, the blame really was more with Indonesia in this instance, because Italy was there and it had nowhere to go. It had the barrier on the left-hand side, and it was a closing gap, and the contact occurred, and I would put it down to Indonesia on this occasion.
4 laps have been completed in the sprint race here in Durban, the first street track race of A1 Grand Prix, but most of it so far has been under safety car because the expected first corner accident did occur. Not amongst the leaders, they got through safely, but in the midfield there was an accident between Italy and Indonesia. 1 or 2 other little mishaps that sorted themselves out pretty much, but those 2 cars did need to be sorted out. Now remember, although this started out being a 20-lap race, there is a maximum duration of 30 minutes, so we will keep an eye on the clock to see how long we've got to go. 16 laps at the moment, but we've already used up nearly 10 minutes for this race.
Yes, well, just looking at the clock, we've got 14 minutes and 17 seconds remaining of this race, so it's going to be a very short sprint race, certainly not the 20 laps that it was initially intended to follow.
Right, towards the back of the field, we can see the Pakistan car there, the green and white colours, with new sponsorship on the car as well this weekend. But remember, it's Enrico Toccocello who's driving. It's a real one-off situation, this, where the other teams have been asked is it okay if a non-Pakistan driver brings the car out, because we really want the car on track and our man is injured, and the other teams have agreed to that. And so Enrico Toccocello is at the wheel of the Pakistan car. I don't think you'll see him getting involved in many big dices. I think he's under fairly strict instructions to behave himself.
Yes, he's got Azul Shaban of Lebanon behind him, so he'll probably just let that car go through and continue in its race, and he'll run behind, capable of running, in fairness, a lot quicker than Lebanon could do. Nonetheless, I think that's what will happen with the Team Pakistan entry.
Interesting to see that of the power boosts still available, France still has 3 of its 4 allocation from the sprint race. Netherlands has already used 2, and as we get ready for this race to restart, let's see if we find out who's going to use power boost. The Netherlands going for it. The Netherlands, Jos Verstappen using the power boost, so are the Czech Republic, so is Great Britain. France not bothering as the green flag waves, racing restarts. France leads, Netherlands second, then the Czech Republic. Ireland under attack there from New Zealand, Brazil in behind, then Canada, Germany, the United States, Portugal and Australia, and so far so good around that hairpin.
Yes, everybody seems to have got around it cleanly. Delighted to say it was Portugal trying to find a way past the USA into turn 2. There is really no way that you can make an overtaking manoeuvre into that particular corner.
It's going to be a bit follow my leader through this section of the track, no doubt about that. Alexander Premat leads for Team France, but Jos Verstappen is right there with him in the Netherlands car, and up there in third place the Czech Republic, gaining after Great Britain went for that move on the opening lap. Great Britain quite fortunate not to have damaged the front wing when they travelled over the curve down there, but Robbie Kerr's car looks to be in good shape.
The Czech Republic closing right up to the tail of Team Netherlands as they come into turn 9, and Germany, USA start up to turn 9 into 10. Much narrower than the entry into 10, then there's that quick right left through 11, then the long left hand corner, turn 12.
Portugal looking threatening on the back of the United States there. Portugal was a little disappointing in qualifying compared to the pace they'd shown early in the weekend. Look how Verstappen's being ganged up on by both the Czech Republic and Great Britain.
It's the Czech Republic are the ones that are on the roll. We think Thomas Enger's got pace. He's certainly quicker on the turn part of the lap than we thought. Look, Team GBR once again goes wide, tries to make the cut back as they come out of turn 1, but unfortunately not sufficient room to be able to get a pass.
Big bump there as they come down towards turn 2. We've seen a couple of mistakes here and people ending up in the barrier on the outside. So far so good in the race itself. Turn 3 and Great Britain still tucked in behind the Czech Republic car, which we're riding with now. We're in third place with Thomas Enger. The view ahead is the orange car of the Netherlands. They've got their best possible result, or best result of the season, in their grasp, have the Netherlands, but can they stay there?
Watch Team GBR now right on the gearbox of the Czech Republic. We've seen Robbie Kerr do a brave move down the outside into turn 9. Will he try something similar? He's not close enough, nowhere near as close as he was to France on the opening lap.
160 miles an hour between the concrete walls, 6th gear, flat out down this section of the track. And to try an outbreak at the end, you need a lot of bravery. It's what Robbie Kerr attempted on the first lap, and it didn't come off. Looking at the USA, still with Portugal behind, then Australia and South Africa. South Africa now in 14th place. We thought he was 13th, but that was what before the USA car was moved, shuffled back up the order. So South Africa currently running in 14th place, keeping the nose clean. And we've got someone in the pits. That was USA, I believe.
Yeah, just dived very quickly indeed. I don't know whether there's a problem. As we looked at whether it's a drive-through penalty for the Team USA, we picked up that he had been moving forward in the line of cars. Whether that's the cause or whether there's another cause, he may have passed before he went across start-finish line at the restart. That is clearly a penalty a driver will have to pay. A simple drive-through, but it takes him to the tail of the field.
So a real shame for Team USA there, and they've got to suffer with a drive-through penalty and rejoin the field right at the back. So up front it's Team France leading from the Netherlands, then the blue, white and red colours of the Czech Republic with the similar colours but in a different scheme for Great Britain running in 4th place, then Switzerland in 5th. Team Ireland are still in 6th place. Not a lot Ralph Furman can do about moving up from there at the moment. New Zealand in a strong 7th, and then Brazil in 8th. You're looking at Australia there, currently 12th. There is South Africa, 13th, and they're just trying to stay out of trouble in these still relatively early stages, although in terms of time, we're nearly halfway through this sprint race already.
Yes, the front 6 basically are just about holding station. All you may hope for is that you can find a driver makes an error, gives you an opportunity. But of course, remember the positions that you finish the sprint race in will form the grid that you'll start the feature race in, and that is really key because that's the money race. That's where everybody wants to be best positioned for the grid.
on board with Stephen Simpson on the South African car. Look how close you come out to the pit wall there, and those guys hanging out their pit boards get a bit of a shock every time the cars come through, and down towards the hairpin we come. First gear for many of the cars, sometimes choosing second gear in race conditions. It is tight, but he gets through there cleanly, keeps off the wall on the outside, and he's got the Mexican car not too far behind, so he's got to keep an eye on his mirrors every now and then.
Well, Team France leading this race, I would say, quite comfortably, but Netherlands, in fact, have had the fastest race lap. Oh, and a mistake just going into turn 5 as we look back to the leaders as they make their way through turn 6 and 7. That's the notorious curve that put out so many people on Friday. The drivers have managed to get to terms with it, and there's been a minor alteration to give them some assistance.
The line we're looking at now being led by Ireland in 6th place, New Zealand in the black car 7th, then Brazil 8th, Canada 9th, and Germany in 10th position, and a slight gap back to Portugal, who was really sliding his way into that turn 9. He did make it through. I wondered for a moment, a little bit of a slide there from Canada too. Sean McIntosh, just the back end of the car, weaving around as he comes under increasing pressure from the German entry. Timo Scheider really throwing everything he can at the Canadian car. South Africa and Mexico come through safely through turn 12 and now into the final bend, turn 13 to complete another lap.
But there is the leader, and still under pressure from the Netherlands, the Czech Republic. Team GBR just dropping back a little bit, and that's probably not you don't want to get too close. You run under the nose or the tail of another car, you lose your momentum. Now, whether there will be a chance to see an overtake from Robbie Kerr, he's the only one who's made a meaningful attempt so far. He did it down into turn 9, it didn't come off. He's prepared to take a chance, I suspect, if he can find position.
A new fastest lap now for the Czech Republic, as you can see, a 1:19.7. That's a good lap from Thomas Enger. He's running in 3rd place currently, chasing after the Dutch entry with Jos Verstappen at the wheel. But France still dominating this, controlling the pace at the moment. I'm sure they're probably not pushing as fast as they can. They've got that lead position, the control position, and Alexander Premat's now trying to pace this race.
Well, the beauty of leading a race, particularly on a street track, is you've got nothing but clear track ahead of you. That is, of course, until you come up to lap some of the slower cars. But he can run the pace, he can pretty much dictate the pace. He doesn't have to go flat out literally every part of the racetrack. He's only going to be competitive on the parts of racetrack where you can be vulnerable, such as you come onto a main pit straight and going down into turn 1. But you can see sufficient clear air between France and the Netherlands, so there is no threat to France's lead.
On the power boost stakes, you can see that quite a few cars don't have much left. France does, but most of the guys behind have used plenty of their power boost opportunities already. Netherlands still has one left. South Africa there, just having a little look, not a real overtaking attempt, but getting very close now to the back of the Australian car. So these two countries are fighting hard. It's Will Davison driving for Australia, and of course it's Stephen Simpson behind the wheel of the South African machine.
And they're running in 12th and 13th place.
Yep, and just outside the points, remember you get points down to 10th place. Currently that means Germany is the last point scorer. They're running just a little further up the road with Portugal as well between them and these two who are fighting away for position. Watch as the race progresses, whether the balance changes on the cars, whether any of the particular cars start sliding anymore.
And they've got plenty of power boost left. They don't need to use it because no one is sufficiently close to give the opportunity that extra 50 horsepower. There's no point in wasting it. You may get a chance later, so keep it in reserve.
Yep, they're waiting for their opportunity to make the most of it, but Australia's just eased away again on this last lap. France really beginning to open up an advantage now. It's 1.7 seconds over the Netherlands. But the Netherlands still on for their best result in A1, but look how close Thomas Enger of the Czech Republic is to that Dutch car.
And as a consequence of this battle for second place, 3 cars really disputing second place, it is giving France the opportunity to stretch that lead. That's just music to the ears of Team France.
Something's happened to South Africa. South Africa's dropped several places on that last lap, and they're down to 16th. Oh no, what a shame. He's been pushed away in the pit lane. Well, it's a mechanical issue, presumably, for Stephen Simpson. Would you believe it? He suddenly started dropping back from behind the Australian car, and Stephen Simpson is being pushed back into the pit garage, and they cannot believe it in the stands.
Well, disappointment all around the circuit, and you can see just audibly and visually that, well, what the girls say, what's happened? We want to know. So track commentators, they'll have to find out pretty quickly what the problem is. It may be a gear selection problem and maybe an electronic problem. Certainly all the bodywork of the car is in place. There doesn't appear to have been any contact, so something that hopefully can be rectified in the intervening period before we get the 40-lap feature race underway.
Switzerland running in 5th place. Team Ireland are currently 6th and have just taken the fastest lap. Ralph Furman Jr. is flying. He was quickest in the warm-up this morning. He's showing that kind of pace again, but it's one thing to be quick. Can he possibly find a way past a talented and experienced driver like Neil Yarni, who drives for Switzerland?
It will be a very difficult opportunity. The places to do it, and was that a little, watching Switzerland maybe responding to some of the pressure now. Ireland right on the tail, careful not to hit the barrier on the exit, Ireland, because that's what happens when you pick up the pace, you're on the roll. You sometimes just maybe overdrive it, but Switzerland clearly under problem.
We gather that the South African car had a gearbox problem. That is what has brought him into the pits. Bitterly disappointing for the home track man. And let's just hope that they can get him back out in the feature race now. On board here with the New Zealand car, and Matt Halliday's doing a good job. He's running in 7th position here. Good opportunity to score useful points and perhaps more importantly be in a good position for the feature race.
And that rear with facing camera gives you an idea just how close the rear of the car gets to these concrete barriers, particularly on the exit of turn 8.
Fastest section here, then on the brakes. Brazil not far behind him. Nelson Piquet Jr. fending off the likes of Canada and Germany. Still a close bunch of cars here. Behind them we've then got Portugal, then Australia, who's now been relieved of the pressure from South Africa. Mexico's 13th, Pakistan running in 14th position. And here we are again, riding on board that New Zealand car. Look how close he is to the wall through the apex of turn number 12, and behind him things are holding up quite nicely between Brazil and Canada, but the race leader already down to turn 1 hairpin. There is the Czech car in 3rd position, and Thomas Enger's had a couple of podium finishes recently, could be on target for another one here today.
Well, he certainly released a little bit of the pressure. He was asserting onto Team Netherlands and Jos Verstappen. You just cannot run under the rear of another car consistently. It's too much, and also your performance will suffer as a result. So he's dropped back. He's just going to get himself into a mode or a position where watch what happens with the Netherlands. If he makes an error, you're in position to close that gap down.
Watch the speed begin to build up here as he comes down the straight. It'll build up to 250 kilometers per hour, around about 160 miles per hour, and then hard on the brakes once again. The power boost available still to France, still 3 power boosts available to the race leaders. They don't need to worry about it at all. They've got a useful advantage over the Netherlands and the Czech Republic there in 3rd. 4th place still Great Britain. After that lunge he made on the opening lap, Robbie Kerr really hasn't been able to do too much on this street track, but well, that's just the way it goes. Now, we've seen South Africa go out of this race. So disappointing for the home fans here, and let's just hope they can get that car back together. There's no one for them to cheer on now. They'll have to switch their allegiance. I bet there'll be a lot of people cheering for the Netherlands car. They're running in 2nd. And we've got an opportunity now to hear from the Chief Executive Officer of the South African team. Dana Cooper is down in pit lane. Let's hear what she has to say about it.
Dana, heartbreak for Team South Africa. Dana, what's the situation? Say again, Dana, I'm sorry we lost you there. Say again.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yes, but they have identified the problem. Apparently it's electrical and they're working on it right now. We will be back on the track very soon. Oh, certainly, most certainly.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, sorry about the break-up on the sound there, but it's good news to hear that they reckon that they can get it fixed. So the team rushing around the back of the car to make sure maybe they can even get him out in this race, just to do a couple of laps and make sure they have fixed the problem. There are 6 laps to go and 6 minutes to go. So we're not quite, I think, going to get all 6 laps when they're lapping at around 1 minute 20 seconds. So it'll finish a fraction before scheduled distance, but it's all John.
Yes, and I mean, Robbie Kerr in place 4, Team GBR, he must be wondering as he's driving around in 4th place, if I'd only gotten ahead of France, I could be leading this race, I could win this race. And I think anybody in Netherlands, Czech Republic could equally say the same thing. It's very close. The lap times between the top 4 cars virtually identical.
Brazil there, tucked in behind New Zealand. Not a lot that Nelson Piquet can do. You do have to think that they're not going to take the biggest risks to overtake in this sprint race when they've got a feature race coming up that has that all-important pit stop, where strategy will be a very, very major part when to call the pit stop. So these experienced drivers running up near the front end of the field, I think, are really going to settle down into position here with only a few laps to go and count their blessings. They've got the cars in one piece at the moment, keep them that way and be in good shape for their feature race.
Well, I think the only way we're going to see an overtaking manoeuvre in these closing laps is simply if a driver ahead of another driver makes an error, and that then gives them the opportunity. Nobody, I suspect, is going to take a major punt. And on the two parts of the racetrack here, as Piquet locks up the brake into turn 9, that's the second of the two. The other one clearly is into turn 1, but neither any of the top 4 cars since the opening lap, as Piquet runs it on the curve going through turn 10, have been in a position to make an effective manoeuvre.
Piquet still following that New Zealand car then. They're running in 7th and 8th places currently. So top 10 position, gets some points, also keeps them in the hunt for the feature race. Behind them, we've got the German car now in 9th place. Big slide there from Piquet.
Well, Piquet has not given up. Team Brazil really want that 7th place. And I mean, he's one of the few drivers you can see who is actually racing rather than just maybe going around consolidating the positions.
Also, here we've got Switzerland and Team Ireland. That's a pretty close battle still between these two. Neil Yarni versus Ralph Furman, and you're riding on board with Ralph Furman into turn 3, 4, the tight right-hander, and 5, the opening up on the exit there through that corner, drops downhills very slightly, and now through this tight chicane that's been built to slow the approach speed down to the next section. Still pretty fast through here. They're flat out round the right-hander. The car sliding out towards the wall. Oh, and Brazil spun! Brazil has spun out of 8th place, and that will give another place to Germany.
And it's down at turn 1. Now we've seen cars...
He hit the wall.
Touched the wall and turned him round.
Clipped the wall on the inside with that inside rear. Oh my goodness, he was being too careful almost.
Well, in a sense, yes, but of course, you know, you do the same thing you think every lap. All it takes is a 1 inch closer to that barrier, and the barrier will just launch the car around. But I must say, also watching Team Brazil on the previous lap, we saw Piquet getting the tail out. That was under power. This time, clearly just too close to the barrier, and it turfed him into a spin.
That's the beauty of a street track. It's so easy to make a mistake. Look at the leaders coming around now, under yellow flags, of course, to warn them that there's a car in a dangerous position. So they are being wary. There's no overtaking allowed, of course, under a yellow flag.
And that car, where it is stopped, is in a relatively safe place, so would not anticipate in the closing moments of this sprint race to see the red flag and the safety car come back out. And what frustration for Team Brazil and Nelson Piquet. They're going to have to sit there until this race concludes.
So Brazil, of course, dropping down to the back in terms of finishing position. They'll have to start right at the back for the feature race, and that's the last thing that Nelson Piquet wanted on a street race. It will be a timed race. We're going to go run out of laps effectively. It'll be the half hour that determines the mark. But there are smiles and thumbs up again in Team France's pit, because Alexander Premat has driven beautifully once again here today. He's getting ready for what will be his 5th win and France's 10th win in A1 GP, despite coming under attack from Great Britain in the opening lap.
Well, he did what he had to do into turn 1, and in a sense he lucked out into turn 2, but he took the centre of the track while that offered up the opportunity for an overtake. It was just too much, and Robbie Kerr, he just took too big a bite of the cherry and lost out.
But he went for it, and that's a good marker for Robbie Kerr. He doesn't give up. He didn't want to settle for 2nd place. He always is prepared to go on the attack.
He's had to settle for 4th.
Yeah, I know, that is the downside. That's the downside. When you make a lunge like that and go for it, you can often come off worse. So that's the choice you have to make as a racing driver, and maybe Robbie will kick himself afterwards. Here we are, great overhead view as they head round another lap, 3, 4 and 5. That is that tight section, and yeah, it's all getting a little closer together. Premat pacing himself quite carefully, I think, at this stage.
Well, he's dropped on the last lap just under a second to Team Netherlands in 2nd place. Now let's have a look and see Team USA as they come out. Well, there was something obviously happening round. Oh, there it is, and China clobbering the wall. Left side rear, left side front, and a nose. Tanguy Zhang. Oh, and Lebanon, Basil Shaban, and again rear suspension damage. And he comes around nowhere, and ought to have been waved yellow flags. Whether Basil didn't see it, clips the rear ring assembly of Team China's car. Lucky that wasn't a more severe contact. Nevertheless, damage now to both cars.
Yellow flags, I think, were being waved, and I think Basil perhaps just came in a little bit too fast. And of course, unlike the earlier spin when Piquet was off the racing line, that car is absolutely bang central on the racing line. And look, South Africa have repaired their car. They're back on circuit.
And the reason they've gone back out is A, they've repaired the car, but secondly, he will finish this race as a running car, and therefore he will not start at the tail of the field in the feature race.
No, it's very, very crucial to get him back out, and I think he had the message there to be careful, because he was very tight to the inside there. France still lead. We're on the final lap now. This is the last lap. The checkered flag coming out in a moment, but will there be any more mistakes or any more changes on this final lap?
Well, they're all coming up to turn 8 where the incident occurred, and of course this field is closing down. Alexander Premat will have to be careful. There's the waved yellow flag coming into turn 8. Anybody behind may try and take advantage of that by getting a good and the Czech Republic clipped part of the bodywork, the carbon fibre, from the rear of Team China's car.
He might have fouled. Look at this attack from the Netherlands. Attacking France for the lead. This is for the lead. And Jos Verstappen's trying to take the lead on the final lap. Can he get around? Oh no! They hit! And Great Britain just gets through on the inside there.
Unbelievable motor racing when it counted. I said watch Jos Verstappen and Team Netherlands trying to take a run off turn 8. He did it. He fought Team GBR now. They're the beneficiaries back up to where they were as they went into turn 1 at the first lap.
I think the Czech Republic may have a puncture because Great Britain now is second and he's attacking. Can he get past in the run to the flag? Robbie Kerr is going to finish in second, right behind the French car. And where is the Czech car? I think the Czech car picked up a puncture.
It clipped the back of Team China, certainly got a bit of carbon fibre somewhere. Now we see 4th, 3rd for Switzerland, 4th for Ireland, and the Czech Republic nowhere to be seen.
Well, they just crossed the line there actually, John. The Czech Republic did get home in 5th behind Ireland. So what a dramatic final lap. It's France who win. Great Britain second by 0.2 of a second. That's the Czech car, which finished 5th there. He clipped, as you say, the back of, either the back of the car or the debris.
Well, I think he clipped the back of the car. There were wave yellow flags. We knew that everybody was going to take a chance because that was the last opportunity on the last lap to make a positional change. Jos Verstappen tried it. Let's watch this all again somewhere along the line. Here we see, this is after they got down into turn 9, side by side, both trying to give each other room to work, but inevitably the back end gets away and the dirty part of track contact. Now I wondered, did that puncture the left rear of France? It certainly damaged it. Verstappen nails it, gets the car moving. Robbie Kerr has to go one way, then the other way, and then of course the Czech Republic, we'd lost that car somewhere coming down. There's the view looking from turn 10 down to turn 9. That was a hefty contact.
Well, and in the background, look, you saw Kerr get past the Czech car.
Because the left rear on the Czech Republic's car is already flat.
Wow, what a way to finish. Verstappen was on for the Netherlands' first podium finish. He went for the win. Watch it again. This is how it happened.
Yes, it comes down the outside just as Robbie Kerr did on the opening lap. Side by side, there's not an awful lot of room. The trouble was the dirtier part of the track allowed the back end to get sideways. He tagged the left rear of Team France. He then gets it into first gear, just nails the throttle. But watch for Team GBR there, and this is there, you see the reaction. Jos Verstappen absolutely livid with himself, but at least we saw on the final lap what real motor racing we can expect come the feature race.
Look at the reaction when the Dutch guys, they saw him go for it, and then they saw what happened next. They clapped initially, and then it was face in hands. Wonderful pictures.
And we've got the Dutch commentary team just beside us, and they've gone from elation to disappointment. Jos Verstappen, well, the man is a racer. He did what he had to do. He got the run coming out of turn 8 down to the fastest part of the circuit, got alongside Team France, but of course he was on the disadvantaged side, turning in there. Czech Republic.
No, Lebanon.
Lebanon. Oh.
Yeah, the Lebanon car. Remember, he did clip
China as well.
He clipped the Chinese car, so that's what caused his puncture. But my goodness, that was very dramatic. And I'm sure the teams will have got on the radios to warn those front runners about the spun car.
Well, they may well have done so, but there are waved yellow flags up there. But of course, being racing drivers, they thought the opportunity to exist will offer itself up down the quickest part of the straight into turn 9. But damage to Team France's car, that left-hand corner was clobbered by the Netherlands. And that team will want to get the car back in it quickly and just check out, because the suspension geometry, the line of the car, is critical to a car's handling.
Well, that was a scare for Premat, wasn't it? Because Robbie Kerr really was able to challenge in the last couple of corners and almost had him on the line. Premat either had a problem with the car, as you say, because of being hit by Verstappen, or he was just being very cautious, but Kerr closed right up to him.
Well, the contact was sufficiently severe that it may well have damaged one of the suspension links in the bottom rear of the car. It could have even broken it. That was the extent of the shunt. Robbie Kerr couldn't believe his luck. Everything came to him. He lost the opportunity to take the lead in the first lap. He dropped back to 4th place, and then the 2 cars that had overtaken him when he had made that brave move down the outside got it all wrong, and there he was back in 2nd place. And literally, had the race been another lap, I think Robbie Kerr would have overtaken France and won his first race for Team GBR.
Well, what a dramatic end to that race. Switzerland ending up with the 3rd place, with Furman in 4th. Bit of luck for Ireland for a change. The Czech Republic out of luck. They ended up 5th. Then New Zealand, Germany, Portugal, Australia in the points, as was Mexico, which is amazing because they didn't really qualify very well. Enrico Tococello did a good job for Pakistan, standing in for Adam Khan. He finished in 11th. Sean McIntosh lost out a bit towards the end. I don't quite know what happened to him. USA 13th, then India, Austria, the Netherlands 16th after all that. Lebanon 17th, then China, Brazil, and the people in trouble. Simpson did get back out towards the end. Mikola, Busnelli and Jung. Indonesia, Italy and Malaysia, of course, all had their problems on the opening lap.
Last lap drama in the extreme in Durban in the first of A1's street races. Reaction and analysis to this next.
Canvas. How do I appease these people?
Well, Vince Caesar, this year we have a new concept.
It's called the Royal Rumbless.
Let the Rumbless begin!
WWE Royal Rumble. Live tonight, 1 a.m. Sky Box Office. Order now for $14.95. See Channel 755 or call 08705 800 888.
Got a bit of a confession to make. Don't feel good about it. Stole a cigarette off my son without him knowing. Lit the cigarette up. Had 2 puffs. Doesn't mean that I'm giving up. It's made me even more determined to give up. I told Jessie because I don't want to feel as if I'm cheating on her. She turned around and said, "Don't worry, Mum." She said, "You can do it." So not very proud of myself at the moment. Bit of a silly cow, aren't I?
Be strong and quit with Nicotine.
If you need careers advice that's tailored to fit you, call the Learn Direct advice line.
Hello, is that Learn Direct? How can I help you?
We can now assess your skills and help with things like qualifications and information on funding.
And good luck for the new job.
And we'll support you every step of the way. For careers advice, call 0800 100 900.
Walk the Line, winner of 3 Golden Globes for Best Picture. Best Actor Joaquin Phoenix.
Trying to get things together.
Well, then start loving yourself.
And Best Actress Reese Witherspoon.
Come on, baby.
Baby, 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 baby.
Tell me you don't love me.
I don't love you.
Wow. And nominated for 4 BAFTA Awards.
What's with the black?
It's like you're going to a funeral.
Maybe I am.
Walk the Line.
Hey, Gringo. We hear that you are paying for your car insurance monthly.
What? Can you not revert your money?
No. For that, amigo, you must pay.
Don't be punished for paying your car insurance monthly. Unlike some, Virgin Money offer great value insurance with no extra charge for paying monthly. Call free on 0800 051 4321.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Gorgeous deserves your immediate attention. Gorgeous makes effort look effortless. Gorgeous stays up late and still looks gorgeous. Gorgeous has no love for logic. Gorgeous gets away with it. Everyone cares what Gorgeous says. Gorgeous gets in everywhere. Gorgeous can't be ordinary, even if it tries. Gorgeous pays for itself in the first 5 seconds. Gorgeous doesn't care at all what others are doing. Gorgeous was born that way. Gorgeous trumps everything. Gorgeous is worth it.
Welcome to Durban, South Africa. Team France have recorded their 10th win of A1 Grand Prix. Alex Premat's 5th. They only just did it though. Nail-biting stuff in Durban. Last lap drama is perhaps the best way to put it. We'll have a look at it in a moment, but we'll also bring you right up to date as well with exactly what happened and how they will line up for the feature race due to get underway a little later on. This is how they finished. Alexander Premat, the 10th win for Team France in the series, on pole, having finished first in the sprint. Great Britain alongside him on the front row. Switzerland and Ireland follow. Ralph Furman should be a little bit happier with himself after that sprint race success. The Czech Republic in 5th, New Zealand in 6th, and a whole host of others there further down the pecking order who'll be hoping to move their way a little further up too. Okay, so this the presentation ceremony. Robbie Kerr happy with his performance. Started in 2nd, finished in 2nd, but a bit of drama in the middle somewhere. Well, let's get the boys' views in the studio. Keith Hewen and Andy Prio joining me to react to that. It was last lap drama, wasn't it, Keith?
Well, you got to say, I mean, Josh was the guy I was looking for since qualifying yesterday. I really thought that this would be a track for him. But in the end, I mean, I don't know how or what he was thinking of doing. It was almost like we couldn't pick that last turn up early enough to see whether Premat had got any kind of a problem or was a bit slack out of the turn that launched him into that passing position that Jos Verstappen was trying. But round the outside on a narrow street circuit, that takes something quite big.
Absolutely, very gritty performance from Jos. I just love his driving style. He's an opportunist. You know, you don't have time to think about it. It's purely intuitive move, and he really made it. You know, he nearly made it stick. He got into the dirty part of the track and that was it, game over, but really fantastic to watch.
Andy, you were slightly concerned at the beginning about how a rolling start would work in tandem with a street race combination. Was it with good reason?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a bit of a worry if 25 cars arriving at the same speed, but it was a very, very controlled start. But as you see, Keith, there's a lot of jostling around there.
Well, I think Neil Yarni was the one that was the guy who fell backwards in that particular start. As we look now, Italy and Indonesia. Indonesia really giving the Italian driver nowhere to go. Poor old Max Bushnelli, he found himself with no place to go. But again, Premat off the inside, where it was the slippiest part of the course coming down to turn 1. Of course, pole position being on the inside. And this one here, Alex Young, just tags the rear end of Nelson Piquet as they go through turn 1 as well. So quite a number of mistakes, nothing to do with these two. I think they just hurt themselves together. What do you reckon? Indonesia squeezed him a bit too hard?
Yeah, squeezed him completely and ran out of road. And so there's Robbie out-braking himself there, which is really disappointing. But luckily, towards the end of the race, he got it back. But you know, he was. I think he just lost his braking zone, Keith.
But perhaps he could have won the race if he hadn't made that mistake and if he'd bided his time. I know we can always say if. This particular manoeuvre, of course, round the outside. I mean, what did he do there, Andy?
I think that he just basically was surprised by the French car slowing a bit early for the corner. He played it defensive and Robbie went around the outside and got his braking a bit wrong. He was very lucky not to tag the wall.
Gave Jos Verstappen a bit of an opportunity there, and also Thomas Enger. Now then we're looking at Alex Young with his front wing after clouting the rear end of Nelson Piquet. That was nothing left. Of course, a lot of carbon fibre all over the track here. Did take their time to get these cars off the track, I felt, a little bit as well, which slowed things down a bit. But this, a mistake by Nelson Piquet. I mean, you said you expected more of this.
I did. I'm really surprised. These cars have got very wide rear tyres. I'm surprised more and more drivers weren't in the wall, but it's so easily done. You just go that little bit close to the wall and around you go. That's just missing the turning point and getting on the dirty part of the track. And this, then you come around, you find a car broadside in the middle of the road. What do you do? Very difficult.
It smacked his bum, so the Chinese car parked, and as you can see, Basil Shaban just giving him a little spank along the back there, and nothing that anyone can do. But that left a lot of debris on the track. Now we're seeing this was just outstanding. Jos Verstappen, he'd got no other chance other than to try and fold Premat. and almost made it pay.
He nearly won it, and what a start, what a racer. I mean, absolutely brilliant to watch. But you know, Jos is experienced, and he used that opportunity to try and win the race. And I'm actually very impressed that he went for the win and didn't settle for second.
And do you know what? I thought he'd actually managed. I would say this about somebody of the standard of Jos Verstappen. He's got his foot straight on the throttle there, trying to spin that back into second place, but only just missing Robbie Kerr in the moments beyond. So Jos Verstappen not happy with himself, I suppose, but you got to go for it when you're a racer.
This makes great spectating. I mean, look at this commitment from this guy. It's a 160-mile-an-hour entry, and the guy's trying to go around the outside, but you know, it didn't quite stick. And unfortunately, with Jos, probably this has happened a bit too much in his career.
Do you think Pramac had backed it off just a little bit coming down into the closing stages of this race, and Jos saw his opportunity at the last seconds?
I think he was a little bit relaxed, and Jos was looking dangerous right from the start. I mean, on the start, he really made a great start. You know, he was ready to pounce at any time, and I just admire his determination and his grit.
Change of form there for the Verstappen team. They were ecstatic that it was having a go, Georgie, and then all of a sudden it was tears.
How impressive, though, was that drive from Thomas Enger, did you feel?
I think Thomas Enger did what we thought he would do here. I don't think he overperformed. I don't think he underperformed as far as we're concerned. He didn't have an opportunity to make a pass, and in the end he picked up a load of debris, which wiped out any opportunity he may have had in the last couple of corners. So debris on the track, it just cuts tyres up. I mean, carbon fibre is just a nightmare when it digs in.
So certain drama in the final stages of that sprint race. 1, 2 and 3 have been speaking to Lee McKenzie. Here they are.
Congratulations, Alex Prema. I think it's congratulations. Tell us about that last lap. We've just heard from Jos Verstappen. How did you see it?
Yeah, so the last lap was really hard to finish this lap because I have a contact with Jos Verstappen in the corner 9 because the corner before, the corner 8, it was a China car, and so he was in the hole, and so I could done really safe to don't touch the China car, and so Jos Verstappen come very close of me, and so when he overtake me, I sliding a little bit on the gas, and so I touch him and him also, and so after the last corner was really hard with Robbie Kerr because I don't know my suspension in the left rear, and so I finished, so I am very happy, but I think the decision of the marshal was not really good 2 laps ago.
How damaged is your car for the next race?
No, the car will be okay maybe for the second race, so we will see.
Robbie, it was so close for you. Just talk us through how you saw it.
No, Jos had a good go at overtaking Alex, and unfortunately Thomas also picked up a puncher from the China car, which put him out, and catching Alex through the last 2 corners, it was close, but it's second position and not one to be chucked away lightly.
And it does give you and Team Great Britain a great position for the start of the feature race.
It does. We're in a good strong position, and the feature race, if the sprint race is anything to go by, it's going to be really close, and it's all going to come down to the pit stops.
Neil Yanni and Team Switzerland, the race had all been quite civilised until that point. Where were you in amongst all this chaos?
Well, I took actually quite a good start, and then Jos did some quite brave move, I would call that, which put me in trouble, and I fell back to 5th position in the end. And I just stayed there to see what happened, and was waiting maybe something happens in the front, and something happened, and I could again get back to my starting position, 3rd position, so I'm happy about that podium.
Sensible driving, but how difficult for a driver is it to keep out of trouble out there?
Oh, it's quite difficult, especially on the start. I mean, I fell back to 5th just because I stayed out of trouble in the end. And during the race, you just have to concentrate, not doing any mistakes.
Alex, just finally, it's a standing start. Great Britain, France and Switzerland. Who should we have our money on getting into that first corner?
Yeah, for sure. It will be a really good start, to take a really good start and to pass to stay in my place, and so I want to finish first.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
OK, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, the feature, and we'll take you from sunny South Africa to -21 as we pay a visit to Switzerland to see how Neil Yanni, 3rd in the sprint, has been preparing for race day.
The Citroën Zara Picasso. Free your mind. Buy one before the end of January and pay from only $9,995 with free satellite navigation on Desire models. Citroën Zara Picasso for happy deals this January.
There's a number and a website for low-price car insurance. It's the place that gives you low prices on all your shopping. And if you apply online, you'll save an extra 10%. So, for low-price car insurance, look at the difference. Ad Asta.
Holidays in Mallorca from £19 per person per night, including flights. Thomson. Web prices on the high street.
We all know how long a minute is, but does anyone know what one looks like? Is it round, square, green or yellow? And imagine the beautiful things you could do with 200 of them. Call 0800 079 7000 and Orange will give you 200 minutes to any network anytime, plus 500 texts and a free Samsung D600. All for £30 a month. Only if you call 0800 079 7000 or go online. 200 beautiful minutes. It's worth the call, don't you think?
I like winners, but I'm no gambler. That's why I like premium bonds. Now there's 2 £1 million prizes every month. Plus, there's still over 1 million other cash prizes. They're tax-free, no risk. You can always get your money back. I believe in them. That's why my fee for this ad is going to Great Ormond Street.
To buy premium bonds now, call free on 0500 007 007.
Welcome back to Durban, South Africa for A1 Grand Prix's first race weekend of 2006. So far, it's living up to expectation. So massive entertainment right here on Sky Sports 1. There is, of course, plenty of other sporting action for you across the Sky Sports channels today. Fourth round of the FA Cup. Championship side Wolves take on Manchester United. That's at 3:30 on this channel. Then later, double header of Spanish football from La Liga. Real Mallorca face Barcelona, followed by Celta Vigo against Real Madrid. That's from 6, also on Sky Sports 1. And A1 back in 2 weeks' time with a rescheduled Indonesian Grand Prix. Join us at 7 in the morning, Saturday, February the 11th for qualifying, and at 6 a.m. on Sunday, February the 23rd for race day from the Central Circuit. Now, most drivers looking to acclimatise to South African weather conditions ahead of this weekend might have spent some time in the sauna sweating it out. Not Neil Yarni, Team Switzerland's driver, prefers to do his training on the mountains near his home in Jens. Here's more. We're here in Switzerland. It is absolutely freezing, I have to tell you. It's something like minus 21 degrees. Very different conditions to those we're expecting in South Africa in Durban this weekend. But we're here for a pretty good reason to catch up with A1 Team Switzerland's driver, Neil Yarni. So Neil, here we find ourselves in Switzerland in very cold conditions. We've been water skiing with Nelson Piquet Jr. We've been mountain bike riding with Robbie Kerr, but this is a first for us for cross-country skiing, but not for you, we gather.
Nah, cross-country skiing is something I do very often in winter, and it's a very good training actually for arms, core muscles, plus also endurance.
So whenever you do get the opportunity, Neil, to come up here and train, what exactly does it involve?
Well, I come up here and it takes about 2 hours. That's a normal unit I do. And it's actually here, it's very hilly, so it's a lot uphill, which is actually even better for the muscles. And after 2 hours it's enough because it's very demanding. And also you start to sweat, and with the cool weather it gets quite quickly cold.
Now let's talk about the South African race. Once again, I assume the goal is to beat Team France, is it?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've actually beaten them in the last 2 races, but we always messed up the pit stops and we lost the race in the end there. So for sure the task is to beat them, and but I think the bigger task this time will be to get the pit stop right.
What exactly did go wrong in Dubai? Because the sprint race you won, no problem at all, and started on pole for the feature, and then it all went wrong, didn't it? What happened there?
I had a nice lead in the big race, 4 seconds or something, and then the safety car came out, and unfortunately it was just a bad timing. It was a little bit also of unluck, but well, next time most probably.
Nicolas Lapierre, Alexander Premat been talking about Team France's chances, and they've also been talking about the fact they thought that in Dubai the racing became a little bit more competitive. Did you see it that way?
Well, most probably came a little bit more competitive because we were our own biggest enemy in the end and put ourselves out. Because I think Dubai we were very quick, and actually we were the quickest over all the weekend, and we just didn't get it all together in the end for the race.
The series is going well for you, isn't it? France ahead on 106 points, way ahead of the rest of the other pack, but you are in second place at the moment on 75 points or so. Are you optimistic that you can carry that success through from Dubai and really challenge Team France?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the last 2 races, it was Switzerland or me who got the 2 pole positions, Malaysia and Dubai. And also we were actually, in both races, we were the quickest. And I hope for Durban we can do the same thing.
We've only had 3 separate team race winners, if you come to think about it. Nelson Piquet Jr., yourself and the French drivers. Does there need to be a more competitive element in A1? Because that's what we were promised, wasn't it, after all, a competitive series?
Well, in the end, I mean, the drivers who have won so far, they have all won races in GP2. That's maybe something also with the experience and the quality of driving also it shows. But as we saw, sometimes there's also some luck involved or some bad luck with England. For example, they would have been able to win some other races. And I think until the end of the championship there will be several different wins.
Few more races before the series finishes for its first year. How optimistic are you of Team Switzerland's chances of challenging France and pushing them all the way?
Well, as I said, at the moment it looks very good. But I mean, 30 points or 31 points behind them, it's quite difficult to challenge them for the championship with only 5 races to go.
So it's crunch time from now on in, South Africa on?
For sure. Now we are not allowed to do any mistakes, and we have to hope a little bit that they make some mistakes.
OK, best of luck. Thanks very much for speaking to us, Neil. Keith Niljani there talking about the importance of him not making any mistakes and France slipping up occasionally. Well, France aren't slipping up occasionally at all, are they? Especially in Durban.
They're not. I think the whole team package, we've talked about it before, Dams, the organisers for the French team, really done a good job with their car. Premat, Lapierre, both very, very experienced guys, very, very quick indeed. Interesting, Niljani there referred to the bad luck that England, he said, but Team Great Britain are having. And I think really Robbie Kerr is just on the crux of making that first race win. If he can just get a good feature race this afternoon, I just think that we're going to see more wins from Robbie Kerr at that point. He's almost looking slightly desperate sometimes in qualifying, but it's nearly there, Andy.
It's not far away, and I believe that every winning streak has a beginning and an end, and I think that France are close to getting beaten, to be honest. And I think that Yanni's up there for it, but I also feel that Robbie is going to be really very close to winning a race soon.
Andy, how important is this feature race and the result of it for Niljani to stay in contention and stay so hot on the heels of France?
He needs absolutely every point he can get, and you can win or lose a championship by 1 point. So I think that really he's got to finish every race. He's got to be absolutely on the case. He can't make any mistakes. And I feel that Yanni is capable of being that sort of guy. I think he's a very calculating driver, and I think he can take the championship fight right to the end.
OK, thanks for the moment, guys. The track is testing drivers to their absolute limits. It's brand new. It's been constructed over the last 3 months or so. And let's take a closer look at what is the Durban circuit.
The Durban Street Circuit proved a far greater challenge long before any team got off the plane. With a 650-strong construction team, Round 7 in South Africa offers something very unique.
It means a lot. I mean, I think that we've been looking for an event like this that really showcases the city and the province. The stands are fully booked out, the hospitality suites are completely booked out. Durban is often known for events at the last minute suddenly becoming capacity events. This we found 2 or 3 weeks ago. Interestingly, people starting to plan for that.
To detailed plans, the circuit was constructed using over 350 tonnes of steel, 4,000 tonnes of asphalt and 10 kilometres of electrical cable, in line with stringent FIA safety standards. As well as the track, the pit lane garages and the hospitality facilities were also purpose-built. A staggering 150,000 man-hours were spent producing the first A1 street circuit.
We took the decision in October together with A1, and we sat from that moment onwards, not only dealing with the legal issues, but pulling the track together. And we immediately extended the track a bit. And then there were a few little kinks that we had to bring together. Obviously the curing of the crash barriers, because we had to manufacture them from start. And the last were, I think, manufactured only about a week ago. So there's been a lot of that, pulling all of that together, which together with the A1 team, we've really done.
Well, probably the safety is the part that dictates the layout of the track. Because if you can't guarantee the safety with the layout, then you just can't build the circuit. It would not be approved. So runoffs are important. We have that advantage here. That's really the principal way in which you end up finding the right area, finding the right streets for a track.
We've been shouting and swearing and we've got it together. So it's a normal thing that I think any first is always like that. But we're really proud of what we've achieved.
So that's life on the track. Off it, though, the drivers have been enjoying their time in South Africa ahead of race day today. Let's take a look.
To escape the dazzling Durban sun, the A1 drivers relaxed in the peace and tranquility of the Ushaka Aquarium.
This is our open ocean exhibit, depicting a lot of the more popular angling fish that we found off our coast. We've also got big stingrays, we've got ribbon-tail ray, honeycomb ray, and the sand sharks you'll see swimming around the bottom.
It's amazing, I mean, different type of fishes and the sharks, yeah, it's scary, but I mean, yeah, it's good. I've never seen them before, so new experience.
But drivers can't relax for long, and it was soon time to up the tempo.
Quite an experience, really nice to get so close to an animal like that and to touch it. It was really, really rubbery.
Okay guys, I'd like to welcome you all to Shark Marine World, the Ocean Walker site.
Apprehensive faces, and no wonder. The drivers had the chance to get up close to the sharks and rays, but who'd be the brave one to go in first?
The fish are really close and they are really big. You see it all a bit different because of the glass, but no, it's really good fun.
Yeah, it's really hard to walk and it was quite cold, but it was enjoyable, that's for sure.
The stingrays really like to come really close to you and brush up against you, so it was a neat experience.
I just feel a little bit scared if some fish is downstairs and I don't know if touch them or whatever.
I turned around at one point and see this huge sort of sand shark right behind me, and I thought, oh, turn around and carry on walking the opposite direction.
It looks like you're the only one down here with the shark, but it's really nice to feel them. Sometimes they just touch you, and you know, it's incredible because there's a lot of them downstairs, but I really enjoyed it.
Awesome, it's my first time I dive, but it's really nice to go. I was scared at the beginning, but to be honest, if you are calm and do whatever they ask, so it is really so cool.
Never been scuba diving or anything like it before, and it's good. Like normal snorkeling, you don't really get a sense of what it's like down there, and to be doing it with sharks and things, it's quite amazing.
I felt like I was on the moon, wearing these big helmets. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
The atmosphere down there is very calm and peaceful. It's awesome.
Very, very nice and very cozy.
All the fish pass near my neck or my head or everything, so touch a little bit my hand. So this is fantastic.
Enjoying themselves there, having a bit of a dolphin experience in South Africa. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the race action will continue from there with the feature. We're going to also be catching up with the President of South Africa and indeed the President of A1 GP. That's all next.
Experience an exciting mouth sensation. Oral-B's Sonic Complete. 3 modes let you customize brushing to clean, go easy on sensitive spots, and massage for individual mouth care. It's your mouth. Brush it your way. Oral-B's Sonic Complete.
Do you know anything about Uslop?
Nah, I knew this year, apparently.
Whatever your plans, you can be confident AXA PPP Healthcare can help bring them to life. Be life confident.
118 24/7. Oh, hello, yes. Could you give me the number for a dog training school in Guildford, please? I'd particularly like one that does home visits.
I'll text you the number.
Text me? No, could you actually put me straight through?
118 24/7. Whatever you want, just yell.
This is Dick losing his job. This is Dick getting even.
You want to rob Jack McAllister?
It's got to go. Fun with Dick and Jane.
A great saving in the PC World Sale. McAfee Internet Security Suite plus Quick Clean, half price at just $24.99. Online or in-store, you've got the best of both worlds.
Welcome back to Durban, South Africa for A1 Grand Prix 7th race weekend from Durban. Sheikh Maktoum, the founder and president of A1, just taking a walk there along the pit garages, enjoying his time in Durban, and rightly so, because it has been a fantastic race day so far. Plenty to enjoy then from Durban in South Africa. Let's get the reaction of my studio guest, Keith Hewen, and indeed Andy Prio, to what has been a great day so far of racing action, Keith.
Indeed, it's not often you get a country's president walking up pit lane, is it? Taking a bit of an on-hands. Like I said earlier, South Africa, every sporting occasion, they really embrace it. The huge crowd that we've got here, I think it's testament to the effort that Durban have put in to this particular race meet. And I think the first race we've had so far today, I'm looking forward to this second one. I think that a standing start is going to be really hectic into turn 1. I think all those people that have got flats on turn 1 are going to be a real treat coming up.
Has been a bit of a shame, hasn't it, for South Africa, though, because they dropped way off the pecking order, didn't they, and finished right at the bottom, start at the bottom now of the feature race grid.
It's very disappointing for them, and motor racing has a really nasty habit of biting you back when you least want it to. And you know, I think he's going to have a good feature race, but it's going to be tough for him to make anything happen there. But coming back to what Keith said, it's just so nice to see you know, the crowds and the country using motorsport properly.
So plenty to look forward to in the feature race, which now is not so far away. Let's join our commentators of John Watson and Ben Edwards.
South African pit right down at the end of the pit lane, so he's made his way down there now to, I think it is in fact the last pit. It'll be the first pit when they make their stops early. It might be an advantage to South Africa to have their pit box up at that end when it comes to making the stop.
Well, I think the reason it's an advantage is because it is a clean run in. There's no other pits before them, so they'll come off the pit road entry and get straight into that slot, whereas everybody else will have to filter in and out, and depending how busy the pit lane is, it could be either easy or very difficult.
So President Mbeki meeting some of the key personnel in the South African team. Stephen Simpson, of course, already has brought the car onto the grid, so you won't be saying hello to him just yet. Dana Cooper there, who heads up that South African operation. Toki Sagwali, who is the actual seat holder, not there right now. I think we saw him earlier on. Enrique Scalabroni there is the man being introduced, and he is the head of the engineering side of that team.
Yes, a man of great experience and great size, just judging by how he's looking these days. So great opportunity to meet the President of the Republic of South Africa and a few words. But really, the entire team, the pit lane, are focused very much now on what's going to take place, and we're going to see the difference between the sprint race and the feature race, and that is there's going to be much more mixing and matching of quick cars, slower cars. When people come in, when they choose to not come in, do you stay out and wait until the last lap? Will there be intrusion from the safety car? Will there be red flag situations? So many factors that really you have no prediction over whatsoever. So what strategy you may hold before this race starts, you may have to be very adaptable with once the race gets underway.
The cold pack has moved up Simpson's body now. He's wrapping around his chest. He's still not putting it on his head, though.
No, he's got it just round the upper part of his body, his shoulders, just trying to get maybe some of the discomfort, because, of course, a street track is also bumpier, and you're tied into the car extremely tightly, and those straps can sometimes bite into your shoulders. So Stephen Simpson, he's still not yet managed to put it on his head. That's the most obvious and most effective place to put an ice pack when you want to chill your body down.
Well, the city of Durban really is a melting pot of different cultures, Western, Eastern and Arab cultures, of course, all come together here. It is a big city, vies with Cape Town for being the second biggest city in South Africa, and well, it's good to see that so many of them have managed to turn up this weekend and buy their grandstand seats, get their flags and show their support for this new form of motorsport, this Internations Cup, effectively nation against nation for the World Cup of Motorsport. And they're the only Arab team, of course, that is Lebanon, and they've still got some work to do.
Still working away in that left rear corner. That's the corner he made contact with Team China, who were stuck 90 degrees to the traffic up at turn 8. Basil was the first car around, probably didn't have sufficient warning that the car was there, and he did the best he could. He actually it could have been a lot worse, so he managed just to clip the left rear corner, but of course it takes time. As we look down at Jos Verstappen, and he's got, I think, Team India's spare nose cone on the front of his car.
Yeah, it looks like they've had to borrow a nose cone for Jos Verstappen, and you're sure you're right, it's the Team India nose cone.
Now, how are we going to identify cars? If that's what's going to happen, people having to use other nations' bodywork, it's going to cause interest for the commentary crews.
Well, it shows that India have a spare nose cone because, of course, poor old Armin Abraham did have a big accident earlier this weekend, but he bashed the back of the car.
Yeah, but interestingly, they haven't even taken the identification of the nation off the nose. They haven't taken off IND and put on NEL. That's how much time the teams have had to do the work that really is important. That's getting the car straightened up, make sure all the wheels are pointing in the directions that they're meant to do, and having a very quick and thorough check around the car to make sure there isn't any damage that they didn't get with a cursory look, to see that the car is complete and competitive.
It is an example of how the teams do help each other, though, and we've seen this over the course of other races, that if they've got a problem, they can turn to another team, and there is quite a lot of cooperation between the teams.
Yes, there is. I mean, you wouldn't expect to see Ferrari lending Williams or Renault a nose cone, would you?
Of course, it wouldn't fit, would be a slight problem, but even so, it is good to see that cooperation that exists between teams here in A1 Grand Prix.
And he has got, note, the mirror, the driver's mirror on the right-hand side is now, that's been replaced. We saw as he came down the straight in the last lap that mirror had turned around, whether it was hit by debris or something else. You can't think it gave him any straight line speed advantage, but of course, if you turn your mirrors on your road car into the window, you'll find you will go quicker down the motorway.
Yeah, I think he would have liked it, certainly by preference. They're still trying to repair that Indonesian car, and Adam Mikkelsen's looking a little concerned now, a bit anxious as to whether he's going to be able to start from the pit lane, which is really what he's hoping to do now, I should think. At least that might keep him out of trouble at the first corner, but will they get the car ready in time to be able to do that? That's the question.
Well, a lot of work's going on, a lot of people working on the car, and there we look down the grid and we see Team Netherlands directly behind the generous donors of a nose cone. That's Team India. Yeah. And there's suddenly a lot of people in strange positions. Just to the top of your screen there you see Nelson Piquet Jr. in Team Brazil. He was running in 8th place up until the moment when he caught the concrete barrier on the inside of turn 1. He was involved in that battle with Team New Zealand, and he just pinched the corner probably by about a centimetre, and it was enough to throw the car into a spin. He couldn't recover it, and he finished the race sitting in the car watching the traffic, and now we'll start back. I think it's 19th place in the grid.
And also losing out towards the end, which we only caught a brief shot of in the highlights, was Canada. Canada had been running the points and was dicing with Australia, and then they ended up finishing down in 12th place outside the points. So that was a little disappointing. But vantage points being taken advantage of here just about everywhere, on the roof, out of the windows, and those red bugles that have been handed out to everybody and anybody who wants one.
Well, walking in this morning, you're just deafened by these. It's like a plastic version of a coach horn, and principally it's all children who've got it, and they just love, every time they blow it, they get this incredible noise. I think it's fantastic. So once they blow it, they can't stop.
It's been pretty noisy out there today, and just imagine what it's going to be like when those kids get those home tonight. That really is going to be noisy.
Well, that'll be the problem with the families. Luckily, that's not one's going to affect us too much. But certainly, what a weekend it's been, and the whole thing is family orientated. This is an audience made up of families, made up of the community in Durban and in the surrounding countryside, and kids are a major part of the audience here today.
Yep, cheering on their favourite country. That's the opportunity they have here today, and they're making the most of it.
The Saturday night premiere in association with Panasonic.
Ready for the hurricane.
The ultimate underdogs.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. What?
We'll need balls to survive.
We should date.
What?
I said we should date sometime.
Just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Dodgeball. Saturday at 8 and 9 on Sky Movies.
Like all parents, Robert and Ali can't believe how quickly their children get through clothes. But at least when they're using their Morgan Stanley Platinum cards, they get a cashback bonus of up to 2%. Together, they've earned £150 this year. Money they're using to give Ali a treat, now she's growing faster than the children. The Morgan Stanley credit card. Why not get paid for the things you buy anyway?
Is it true that you pay your car insurance monthly?
What?
And you're not with Virgin Money?
No.
For that, you must pay.
Don't be punished for paying your car insurance monthly. Unlike some, Virgin Money offer great value insurance with no extra charge for paying monthly. Call free on 0800 051 4321.
Of green. Red roses too. I see them blue for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Think to myself, what a wonderful world. I love you.
Alongside, we can see Robbie Kerr's car, Team Great Britain, to be starting second.
I like Team GBR's new pit crew. That's a pretty good addition to the team. I'm sure Robbie will respond to that. And there we see the symbol of the team. That's that little dog. Now, Ben, I've found out that little puppy isn't a boy puppy, it's a girl puppy. And its name is Betty.
Oh, I didn't know that. John Paul, okay. That's the British Bulldog that has been their mascot now since pretty much the beginning of the A1 season. We've got Team Ireland back there in fourth place on the grid for this one. Opportunity perhaps for Team Ireland to get a podium finish here. It came to them a little bit this time, but they are due some luck. They had some terrible luck in Dubai last time out when they looked all set for a second place finish. There's a man out of luck in the first race too, because he clipped the debris from the Chinese car and picked up a puncture.
Yes, and I suppose anybody who was that little bit further back might have had a glimpse of the yellow flag going out, but of course everybody knew that there was an opportunity, had they seen the yellow flag, to take advantage of it. Now, you're not really meant to do that, but clearly that's what Jos Verstappen did. He got the run on Team France. Alexander Premat got up alongside. Premat had the presence of mind to put his car on the right-hand side of the track, which made getting around turn 9 all the more difficult for Team Netherlands, and of course the consequence we have all seen.
So Team Ireland, as we mentioned, still hoping to get onto that podium in this one, but they're also battling away in terms of the points. Their team, joint team principal, and the man who looks after the operations is Mark Gallagher. They've had a tough time, as I mentioned earlier on. Let's see how he feels about the feature race today.
Mark Ralph's just getting in the car now. It was a pretty eventful last lap on that race. It's just so difficult staying out of the chaos here, isn't it?
Absolutely, but this street track was always going to give rise to that. I mean, it's a brilliant circuit, but like any street track, you'll have incidents, and we had those aplenty at the end of the race, but we had a good result out of it, and let's see what happens now.
Half the battle is actually keeping out of the trouble of others, and Ralph certainly managed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're quite fortunate at the start of this feature race to have Switzerland, France and Great Britain in front of us, because they're all very sensible drivers. So hopefully they'll keep their noses clean. Famous last words, but I'd like to have a nice clean race and see if we can get a podium.
Mark, thanks very much.
Thank you.
That's very dangerous to say that, I would think, Mark, at this stage. You never know what they're going to try and do. And don't forget, Robbie Kerr was certainly going for it on that first race.
Yes, he does. And again, at the start of the race, he will be now on the opposite side of the track. He started on the left-hand side for the rolling start, which was, in my view, a marginal advantage, but not so much on a rolling start. But now for the start of the race, he'll be on the right-hand side, which is the dirtier side of the racetrack. And no doubt Robbie will try to maximise every opportunity down the inside, but he's got to be careful. He will have learned a lesson from the opening lap in the sprint race when he went down the outside into turn 9 and couldn't get the job done. To try and do it down the inside into turn 1, and there you see there's that little bit of a curb. It's like an elbow sticks out as you come in, so he's naturally going to have to go from right to left anyway, and it all depends where the remaining field is, whether it's Premat or whether it's Switzerland or Ireland. So everybody, particularly those that think they've got a chance or are going to take a punt, that's that curb we're talking about, or maybe that's the one up around at turn 6 and 7. Anyway, there's 2 curbings like that. You've got to be very, very careful how you approach them and try not to take a lunge at it, because it will launch the car. That is into turn 1. So Robbie Kerr and those behind Alexander Premat, who's on the pole position, be warned.
Yes, be careful down into there. They'll be using the power boost, no doubt, as well to get into that first corner ahead. They've got 8 opportunities to use it in this feature race. Looking there at New Zealand, they're 6th on the grid. Matt Halliday is the man behind the wheel. Germany just in behind, and Timo Scheider is going to see if he can score a few more points in this one. Germany not having a bad run so far. Let's see whether they can do better, and let's hear from the man who looks after the operations for the German team, David Sears.
David, before Timo got in the car, he seemed pretty relaxed and happy out there. What was he saying after the last race?
Timo had a little bit of a coming together in the first corner with Team Malaysia and kind of knocked one of his wheels, but he still finished well, and I think we can have a good pit stop in this race. Who knows, he might actually be in the top 6.
He's got some good, sensible drivers in front of him. That's half the battle, because it's so difficult around here, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, but mind you, in the last race, you could see that even some of the best drivers make mistakes sometimes, and with a street race, you know, a little mistake can cause a lot of chaos behind you.
David, thanks very much.
Thank you.
David Sears has seen it so many times before at tracks all around the world, so he's not going to be counting any chickens. But that's the lineup of cars down there on the grid, and we can now take a little bit more of a detailed look once again at how they start this feature race, the second and final race of the day here in Durban. So it is France on pole position thanks to Alexander Premat's victory in the sprint race. He will now start on the outside, but it is an echelon formation. So when they have the standing start, Robbie Kerr's a length behind him already, and he's on the dirty side. Second row, Switzerland and Team Ireland, then the Czech Republic and New Zealand. Germany and Portugal right in behind on the 4th row of the grid, then Australia and Mexico. And Australia really with a good opportunity here perhaps to score some useful points. Then we've got Pakistan and Canada, although it may be that Pakistan will have to start from pit lane. USA and India, Austria and the Netherlands, and then Lebanon and China starting back on row number 9. On row 10, it's Brazil and South Africa, and all these guys, of course, who had problems in the first race. We've got Indonesia, Italy, and Malaysia bringing up the rear of the grid. That's how the 23 cars will start this race, and it's all about that run to the first corner, and let's hope that we can keep it as clean as possible. The A1 Grand Prix of Nations here in Durban, the feature race coming up. And we talked a bit about the problems of that first corner, plenty enough, John. If you were trying to overtake somebody here, which corner, whereabouts would you try to do it?
Essentially, there are 3 places on the circuit you can overtake. That's the difficult thing to do. There's one place which is easy, and that's in the pit lane. That then, of course, is down to you entering the pit, stopping the precise point that the team have designated, and then the crew getting on and doing a clean job. The 3 places on the racetrack are obviously into turn 1, into turn 9, the last place, and it takes a big amount of courage and a lot of commitment, and that is into turn 13. If you can come off turn 12 and take a run down the inside, you will compromise yourself but in doing so you'll also compromise the car you're overtaking. It's a big ask for anybody to do. One or two have shown the kind of, if you like, guile, motor racing skill to do it, and Robbie Kerr clearly is one of those in Team GBR, as is Jos Verstappen in the Netherlands team. But get it wrong and you'll take 2 cars out.
Yeah, well, this is the area that both of those drivers attempted to get past Alexander Premat. Premat's got that inside line fairly well covered now. He's made sure of it on a couple of occasions when he's been attacked by both Great Britain and the Netherlands. So let's see whether he can hold on once again. He's got to get the start right, he's got to get away cleanly, and Great Britain will be right there with him. Still looking for their first victory, of course, Great Britain, and they're looking for the chance to take 3rd place in the series here. If they can score 2 more points than Brazil in this race, then they will be going into 3rd position. A few last-minute adjustments on the Portuguese car.
Yes, Alvaro Perez had a bit of a mixed weekend so far. He's been off the track and maybe not delivering the potential. I mean, certainly the driver, there's no question of ability. You don't win Formula 3 championships in the UK Championship because you're no good. And alongside him, just to the rear, is Will Davison for Team Australia. And a lot of people really now out of position as a consequence of the incidents that occurred in the first sprint race. As we look down to David Martinez in the Team Mexico car, his car looks immaculate and they managed to get all the damage done. As we get a quick view of some of the other activities, that's one of the most popular here in Durban, and that is obviously surfing.
Right, it's almost time for the words that will get this race underway.
Africa. Hello South Africa, hello Durban. A1 is here. Now, gentlemen, for the pride of your nations, start your engines.
And so the V8 engines fire up, and a quick shake of the hand there for Sean McIntosh. Wish of luck for the Canadian team to see whether they can get in the points. Look, it's the United States right behind them on the grid there, so it could be quite a confrontation, and we'll see how they get on with that. Now, I believe, just looking down the pit lane, that we're still waiting to see Lebanon come out. Lebanon is going to be down at the end of the pit lane. We're still waiting to see whether Indonesia is going to make it onto the grid as well. So 1 or 2 gaps on that grid from what we were hoping to see.
Yes, well, Basil Shaban is in his car and they're waiting just to fire it up. This field of cars will now make its way around. So Lebanon will not want to fire up their car too quickly in case they overheat.
So here we are waiting for the final formation lap to take place here. A little bit of a practice start, getting the car off the line. You can see that on that dirty side, the British car was a little slow away. It could allow a tremendous opportunity for Switzerland if they're on the clean side of the track to perhaps gain the advantage down towards turn 1, but we'll wait and see how that works. And remember, with A1 cars, you've got no starting system. It's not all electronic to help you.
No, it's not. It's between you, well, it's your brain and your hands on the gear change, and the controls which your feet will control, and it's what motor racing in effect ought to be all about. To go so high tech where it's all controlled by a computer, it takes a lot away from the human being, and this is a sport, in my view, really about human beings, particularly drivers, but not exclusively, because there's so much support that goes into getting cars, first of all, from conception to the final product, and those then that support the drivers throughout the season, and they're the ones that really are the true heroes of motorsport. They work tirelessly and sometimes, sadly, thanklessly.
There are the points as we come into this race. Have a quick run through there. It's quite close down at the bottom end of the top 10. Netherlands 1 point ahead of Malaysia, 2 points ahead of Canada. Czech Republic's right in there as well, and Australia, which picked up a couple of points in the last race. Also, it's very, very close around that area. But up front, of course, remember, France have a very, very comfortable championship lead, and they've extended it further already today, courtesy of victory in the sprint race.
Well, Alexander Premat and Team France have sprinted away. Well, actually, to Team USA. The field is actually quite spread out, and this is always a problem when you are the pole sitter. You want to bunch the field back up as they come down to the penultimate and the last corner on a lap, to ensure that when you go onto the grid, you're not sitting there waiting for the tail of the chain to get onto the grid, and sometimes it can be as long as up to a minute, and that minute just seems to last forever. And of course you'd start to go through a thing of, is there something wrong with the car? Is it getting too hot? You watch for the indication on the readout on the dash or on the steering wheel, as it is in the case of an A1 Grand Prix car.
The Pakistan car will also be starting from the pit lane, as we thought. So we've got 2 cars lined up in pit lane at the moment, Lebanon and Pakistan. There we are. That's Basil Shaban at the wheel of the Lebanese car. Behind him, the Pakistan entry. Remember, in slightly strange circumstances, the Pakistan car being driven by Enrico Toccocello, who has driven for Italy on many occasions this year. Italian car this weekend being driven by new man Max Busnelli, who was pretty impressive through the practice sessions, but of course involved in a collision on the opening lap of the sprint race, so he starts from the back of the field this time, and the leaders and the front end of the grid now beginning to move into position here. It's Alexander Premat already stationary on the grid for Team France. On the left of the picture as we look at it, it's Team Great Britain hoping to get a bit of traction on the dirty side. Brazil now moving up into position at the back of the grid, so is South Africa, and we're now getting ready for the start of the feature race here in Durban. France versus Great Britain. The battle is rejoined once again. Switzerland will be hoping to get in there as well. The lights go out and France trying to get away, but it's a slow start.
Switzerland, stunning start from Switzerland, splitting Team GBR. GBR getting bogged down, and Ireland comes down on the outside.
Switzerland takes the lead, France in second. Ireland trying to take third, but Robbie Kerr of Great Britain's got it covered. Watch the battle in the middle there, and Verstappen's had an amazing start for the Netherlands. He's already gained some places.
Well, great start from Germany, as well as also Portugal gets past New Zealand, Australia, America, and as you say, Team Netherlands, and disappointment for the Czech Republic left on the grid.
Oh, a stall. We've seen stalled cars on the grid several times this year, and it's happened to one of the most experienced, Thomas Enger.
And they're going to try and get that car pushed to safety at the pit lane exit, but they're going to have to push very quickly because the field is already halfway around this 2.04 mile circuit.
So power boost buttons have not been used very much yet. Ireland have used theirs once. Indonesia coming out onto the circuit. Well done to the Indonesian team for getting that car ready, and he's managed to get out before losing a lap. That's absolutely crucial. It's Switzerland that leads, from France, Great Britain, Ireland, Germany, as you say, with a very good run at the start.
And Team GBR right behind Team France. They're going to put pressure once again as we watch the cars come through to turn 11 into 12. This long you pick up speed all the way through the corner. There's into turn 13. Now, if anybody's going to make a pass into there, I think it'll be Team GBR and Robbie Kerr. But if he gets it right, he'll be a hero. If he fails, it will be all over.
Neil Yarni of Switzerland leads. He's won one race so far this year in A1 Grand Prix. He made a great start. Look at the battle behind Portugal, then New Zealand in the black car trying to join in. Australia's there too, USA, and then the Netherlands. The Netherlands in 10th position. A great start that from Verstappen.
But he's got to find a way to get around the Team USA, and that's not going to be as easy. Verstappen made up all those positions by just experience going into turn one, but once you get into a line of cars, your momentum is dictated by that of the car ahead of you, and unless there's a situation as we saw at the end of the lap of the first race, well, this will be a tough decision.
No doubt. Alexander Premat doesn't look quite as comfortable with his car running in second place as Yarni in the lead car looks at the moment, but it's early days in this 40-lap encounter, and we've got a pit stop to deal with as well at some stage.
Lock up again, Robbie Kerr, major lock up coming into turn 9. He wasn't attempting an overtaking manoeuvre, he was just braking late, and that's what dogged this team. Pretty much throughout the series they have this problem of locking the front brakes, and that all will do. You're going to make a entire stop, but nevertheless you don't want to get out of balance wheel. That will make the job of Robbie Kerr very much more difficult. Look, he comes alongside France into the garage, into the pits.
France into the pits, a very early pit stop.
So
Switzerland. Yeah, very early pit stops here for both France and Switzerland. Portugal going for the early stop, so is Canada. This is the earliest opportunity that they're allowed to stop, and Great Britain leads in Durban with Team Ireland now in second and Germany in third. Let's watch the stops. So Switzerland go to work. They were leading this race, remember, before they decided to make this pit stop. Very interesting strategy here from these top teams who are making the early stop, presumably expecting a safety car period
and France
at some
has got
point.
a problem. France has got a problem. They're not getting the kind of smooth. The right front is not working for France. It is all disappointment for USA and Australia.
USA and Australia have tangled, and this will bring the safety car out by the looks of things. Has France got going?
And has he stalled? No, he hasn't. He had to wait for Malaysia to go down the pit lane before he could get into it himself.
And we are going to see, I think, maybe the safety car coming out. Let's see if they've managed to get those cars out of the way. What a disaster for France. Here we've got those two tangled cars and waved yellow flags.
And the drivers are having to go the long way around. They can't take the natural line round turn one.
The safety car board is being shown at start-finish line, and that means that...
Well, that was a big punt down the inside. Team USA, Phil Giebler, trying to get it done on Will Davison. Davison moves over to the left, gives him room, but of course New Zealand suddenly came into play, and Team USA had to move to the left, and the back end got away, and it was just sort of, well, it was a normal motorway or traffic collision.
Yeah, what a shame for these two guys. But Davison kept out of the way, but then there was no space for him to come through as USA spun. Netherlands did well to slip through on the inside.
And
Great Britain makes a pit stop. So from the lead, Great Britain making the pit stop under safety car. There's a problem on the right front. Problem on the right front wheel. Hasn't got it finished yet. Oh, they desperately need a good stop here. They've been so quick in most of their pit stops this year and through the season. And away he goes, but that wasn't a great stop for Great Britain.
And Switzerland's gone through, so Switzerland, technically, when this all shakes itself out, certainly is going to be ahead of Team GBR, and also Germany is now ahead of Team GBR.
Yeah, and where is Canada going to be? Canada rejoining there.
And they couldn't pass, waved yellow flag, so he had to follow.
He's got the line. He's taken out one of the air hoses with him. Great Britain has an air hose, a piece of rubber tubing beneath the car, which must have come from pit lane, and it's trailing underneath the car. That is terrible news.
And was that from his team or was that from another team? Now that's going to mean he will have to come back in if it doesn't detach itself somewhere around the track, which it may well do. Nevertheless, whatever it is, and flailing around like a 30-foot snake behind the rear of Team GBR. Now puffs of smoke coming out of the back of Team GBR as well.
This could be the end of an effective result here, and Canada being very sensible here and not getting too close.
He can't wave yellow flags, he's not allowed to overtake. There must be wave yellow flags as we get the safety cars here. Blow up, or something, a major problem, not say a blow up, but there's a lot of blue smoke coming from the rear. Now whether that is a consequence of that lead being attached to the car, I don't know whether that's from Team GBR's garage or somebody else's.
Well, drama indeed for Team Great Britain once again. Gets into the lead of the race. And now the pit stop's gone wrong. Now, is it still attached? Yes. Whatever it is causing a bit of smoke at the back of the car as well. Maybe it's getting tangled up in a drive shaft or something, I don't know what. Because now there's no smoke. I think he's trying to get rid of it. Look, he's weaving around, but he'll be given a black flag.
That's attached securely to the bottom of the car.
I can see the black, well, from our commentary position, I can see the black flag being gotten ready.
Yes, he's gone in. He's had to go in. He's been on the radio, and the team have said, you've got to come in. It's actually, you can see the metal coupling where it would go into the air bottle itself. But where it is attached to the rear of the car is impossible to tell. Now, whether the blue smoke we saw was the consequence of that getting trapped under a wheel and tire, we have to wait and see. But certainly, jacks under the car, front and rear. Can they get it detached?
Well, it must be pretty well jammed in there. I wonder what it's got jammed on. But they've got it out. Was the gun still attached? No,
I don't think so. I think it was just simply that it got attached around maybe a suspension leg and therefore got trapped. And there was nothing that Robbie Kerr could do to detach it while he was driving around the circuit. And it just flailed around, doing no damage, fortunately. But what frustration, having suffered the problem of a poor pit stop because of the right front, compounding it because then the line got detached underneath the car.
So, those cars that haven't stopped, New Zealand, Brazil, Pakistan and Lebanon, are now the top four. The first car that has stopped is Switzerland. Switzerland made the most of that first round of pit stops, but Germany is second of the cars to have stopped, currently lying sixth overall. Canada also, of the cars that stopped, is third, and then the Netherlands fourth. So there's been some big changes here. Now, of course, New Zealand and Brazil are running first and second, but they've got a pit stop still to do.
But Ben, looking down, Ireland are 14th, and race winners in the sprint race, France down in 15th now. They had a poor pit stop. Ireland, we didn't see their pit stop, but they clearly, when they were second, when they were running behind Team GBR, they then came in the following lap. They must have also had a poor pit stop.
Let's take another look at the start. There was Enger stalled on the grid, but then it was the run down here. Bad start by Premat, and Jarni took advantage.
Germany also a big gain in that start of the feature race. Gets up to 5th place. Challenged on the outside, but was able to secure it. Portugal and New Zealand putting pressure on Team Germany, but not a problem.
Amazingly, they just about made it through the first corner without contact, and Verstappen was able to find a bit of space as well. This is how it looked as Switzerland went side by side with France into the hairpin. France couldn't do much, but managed to stay in second place. Verstappen cut back in late there to try and take the advantage and almost wiped himself across the nose of the Canadian car.
I mean, it's just like Jos Verstappen drives the Dodgems in Zandvoort at one of the amusement parks. Just cut all the way through, no problem whatsoever.
Staying out of trouble was South Africa, and they are now shown as 11th, having made their stop. So South Africa could be getting into the points here, but Australia, I'm afraid, are out of this race. Will Davison walks away from his battered car with no front wing on that machine and is out of the event.
Yeah, so 2 cars out already. Will Czech Republic 1 lap down, of course, having that stall on the grid as the flash went out. And now the chain of cars, the majority have made, other than it's Lebanon, Pakistan, Brazil and New Zealand, yet to make that mandatory stop. And I don't know, when they take their chances, there may well be other safety car interruptions. So they just, by staying in the lead, they can stay out until the penultimate lap before they make the decision.
That was the moment the USA tried to go down the inside of Australia and just overcooked it, basically tried to still make the corner and spun right in front of the Australian car. Great disappointment.
You can see the rear wheel was locked, and of course that would incline to drag the back of the car around. Will Davison went for the gap, but the gap didn't emerge as he had hoped it would do, and there was the contact. Let's look again and see. There's the lock-up. The rear wheel turns in, doesn't turn enough, wasn't maybe aggressive enough and giving himself sufficient room, thinking that maybe Team USA would have rolled back rather than coming to a stop, and maybe even Martin rolling slightly forward.
Yeah, unfortunate for Australia that. He couldn't really have done a great deal more than he did. Gave the guy room, but unfortunately nothing to do on the exit. So, Team USA out of luck on this occasion. Up front, though, currently leading is Team New Zealand with Brazil in second place. And we think the safety car may be coming in.
Yes, the lights were out. There you see the lights right on the safety car. So this race will get underway with Team New Zealand leading from Team Brazil and Team Pakistan, which is not actually in the race for real.
Yeah, Team Pakistan, just a guest appearance because they haven't got their regular Pakistan driver in there.
How ironic would it be if Team Pakistan actually went on to take this race with it as a non-competitor, but here just to give support to the Pakistan fans.
Here we go, all set for the restart. New Zealand leading, and it's determined to make the break here. They will be hoping for a later safety car period to have any chance of getting a good result. But look at the Czech car now attacking Lebanon. So Thomas Enger trying to get down the inside on this restart. Can he make it tight enough? Lebanon gives him room, and Enger was just not prepared to take a big gamble there.
He wasn't sure whether he was going to get the corner from Team Lebanon or not. He did the wise thing, he did the prudent thing, just backed off and sort of cruised around the corner. There we see the battle that's going on as the cars start once again. 34 laps to go, or 1 hour, whichever comes sooner.
Switzerland, remember, is the first car on track that has made his pit stop, currently running in 5th position. He's got Germany right behind him, Canada and the Netherlands. And Netherlands currently running in 8th place overall, but 4th of the cars that have stopped. Remember, he started at the back after that accident in the first race. He's still in the hunt. Well, there's your answer with Ireland, John. They've got yet more problems.
Well, whatever that problem was during the pit stop, it may have been manifest just prior to coming in for it, or just going back out. Certainly they lost ground and now back in the pit, so it looks like it's over for Ireland in the feature race.
Matt Halliday is leaping away out in front in the Black Beauty in the New Zealand car. He is absolutely committed. He knows his only chance of getting a good result here is to open up a good enough advantage and hope really that there's no safety car for a while so that he can build up a lead.
Basil Shaban, Team Lebanon, still under pressure from Thomas Enger, the Czech Republic. Enger may not be so generous about making an overtaking manoeuvre. Basil Shaban pulls over to the left, but he can't get it done again. Shaban for Lebanon late on the brakes, overshoots the corner, and that now he comes back, but at least gives room for the Czech Republic to get through cleanly.
Well, now Switzerland's got the problem of trying to get past Lebanon as well, and remember that Germany, right behind Switzerland there, is a battle for what could become the lead of the race once others have made their pit stop.
We've got 6 cars, essentially the top 6 cars running behind place 4, which is Lebanon, who have yet to make a pit stop. So how they're going to find a way through is going to take a little bit of patience, because if you try to force the situation, you'll end up in the barrier.
On board with Canada here, Sean McIntosh also in an ideal position, running a third of those cars that has made a stop. And here comes Switzerland as Neil Yarni jostles for position, looks for a way past the Lebanon car.
But Lebanon stays in the middle of the road. It's entitled to do that. It's a large away command move, a blocking move, but it can't do more. No way down the inside into turn 10. In fact, it may hurt Switzerland to take that option, because that part of the track, like others that is not in regular use, gets dirty.
Right behind Switzerland, it's Germany, and Germany could take advantage here because Switzerland struggling to get away past Lebanon, and if something goes wrong, Germany will be right there to nip through. Portugal ahead of the Netherlands. There's been a change there. Portugal
Netherlands have dropped back.
Yeah, Netherlands had problems on that last lap and has lost a place to Portugal. So
down the inside, Switzerland this time manages to get past Lebanon. And also Germany. Contact, is there well, maybe not.
And Portugal's past Canada. Portugal managed to nip down the inside.
Bodywork come off. I think that might be Canada's front wing. Bodywork now lying in the track. There you see it. That's, I think, the nose of Canada. If there was contact, that's the consequence.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, it was all happening down there. New Zealand still lead. Brazil in second, yet to make their stops. Then Pakistan, chased by the Czech Republic, which is a lap down. Then the real battle in a way is Switzerland.
And it is Sean McIntosh. Canada, they've lost the nose, that contact in the overtaking manoeuvre on the edge of the turn one, and he'll be in the pits.
Oh, what a shame for Canada. It's not going according to plan for them here today. Indonesia coming through. Take another look at this.
Well, this is the move. Switzerland passing Lebanon. Comes down. Germany are the ones to try and take advantage.
Yeah, Portugal also going through there. Another view of that as Canada really cut back on Portugal. That really, John, surely was Sean's mistake a little bit.
In a sense, yes, you have to say, he's trying to get back. He probably had the barrier on the left-hand side looking him in the face. He had to cut back, but he just cut it too fine, and the nose damage, the ring off, and he'll be in the pits.
Yeah, here he comes into, no, he doesn't.
So he's staying out. I wonder whether he feels, well, I can still continue in this race. I'm not going to be as competitive, but if I keep running, I still may pick up points.
Yeah, well, of course, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to overtake him, but here's the man who'll try. It's the Netherlands, Jos Verstappen, trying to get down the inside, and he makes the move stick. So that brings the Netherlands car back a place. He lost one to Portugal. Oh, dear.
Well, I don't know why he went over his front wing. All he has done now is scatter that wing carbon fibre, the shards of carbon fibre all over the racetrack, and I wonder whether that will be in itself a reason to put the safety car out, because I think that will now need to be cleared up. Thomas Enger, Czech Republic, retired.
Race over. Oh, that's a shame. He was trying to gain his lap back, wasn't he? He was attacking up front, but his race really went wrong from the start when he stalled at the start of the race. New Zealand still pulling away, 1 minute 20.1, and what's happened to Great Britain now?
Being pulled back as well. That's down at turn one. Robbie Kerr and Team GBR pulled back from the racetrack. We didn't see that. We hopefully will see. But they maybe just made it. We don't know whether there's an error. He wants some action. He wants to be either pulled away or bump started. I think the marshals are duty bound to pull him away to safety.
So it looks as though it's all over for Great Britain, and what looked as though it could have been a tremendous day has all fallen to pieces. And of course Brazil, we talked about the battle for third place in the series between Brazil and Great Britain. Currently Brazil's running second, but they still have to make their pit stop.
Well, New Zealand's got a 1.9 second advantage over Brazil, so Matt Halliday hasn't got a lot to play with. You remember, he's still got to make that mandatory pit stop. Look at the field as they fan out behind Basil Shaban and the Lebanon, with Mexico now directly behind the Lebanese car.
South Africa in there as well, getting a big cheer for Stephen Simpson. He's now up into 10th position. He has made a pit stop. Into the pits has come Sean McIntosh of Canada. He couldn't continue with that damaged front wing.
He also had to wait until the team got a nose out and were able to, there's no point coming in sitting there if the team haven't got a nose prepared. They didn't expect damage to the nose, so they had to go and get the nose out and then prepare for the refitting.
So New Zealand leads, Brazil second, Pakistan third, but those three cars have yet to stop. Then it's Switzerland, Germany, and then followed by Portugal, the Netherlands, and Lebanon. Lebanon also is yet to make their pit stop. They're followed by Mexico, South Africa, Malaysia, France. The series leaders, France, still down in 12th place.
Lock up from Neil Yarney, that's into turn 6. And India.
Spin. Yeah, for India. Arman Ibrahim has had a spin, and that's dropped him down. He was running in 14th position, and unfortunately, I wonder if he stalled the engine here. The marshal's very quick again.
It looks to me as if he has done. So once again, as they come round the back of the circuit, there's a move. No, it's not. Oh. What is going on? Ananda Mikkola and India get together in turn 9.
Well, we gather there's going to be a drive-through penalty for Team France. Now, what's happened to Indonesia?
He's got a puncture left rear. Yeah. So that car also out of the race. Look at the look of consternation. Jean-Paul Grillo, he doesn't understand. What have we done? Why are we getting black flag?
Yeah, I don't know what the reason is, but they're being black flagged. Team France, for whatever reason, they are being brought back into the pits. And, well, they can't quite believe that. And suddenly, their domination of the series is looking a little shaky. Now, what's happening here? Lebanon still trying to protect its position from Mexico, South Africa, Malaysia. There is France, who, as we know, has got to come into the pits, but the safety car is on standby at the moment.
France in 12th place, but the key to this race is the position of Switzerland in relation to New Zealand, who are leading. It's only 6.7 seconds gap between first and fourth place. And for New Zealand, Brazil, forget Pakistan, they're not competing, they're just giving a demonstration. There's Mikola's car once again. That means that Brazil and New Zealand, if they don't pit stop, well, they're going to lose out completely.
Now, I think New Zealand has come into the pits. That's interesting. So they've picked up the next car, which is Brazil. So New Zealand making them a choice to come in now. It hasn't really worked because the safety cars come out earlier than they would have liked.
So this will put them all the way back down the field, well, possibly as far down as somewhere in the low teens.
Not too bad.
New Zealand is coming out behind Malaysia. Malaysia currently in 9th, so maybe it's 10th. Australia have gone past, it's 13th.
Yeah, that looks like he's coming out in 13th place.
Behind China, that ought not to be a problem for Matt Halliday, but then Italy will be. Italy is behind Austria, and I think Italy and Austria might be able to swap positions fairly easily.
France has made its drive-through penalty, so they're back out on track once again. Alexander Premat will have to try and make up as many places as possible.
Well, we wonder what the cause of that was. What is exceeding the speed limit in the pit lane? That might be one of the more obvious causes for a driver to have to do a drive-through penalty. Because he had a poor pit stop, that may have been just an error or frustration.
12 laps have been completed, and there are 28 laps remaining in the feature race here in Durban. The car behind the safety car now is Brazil, leads the race.
Ireland is back out. So Indonesia and India square up as to whose fault this particular one was. We saw Anand Ibrahim getting involved in an issue with Ralph Fairman in qualifying, which Fairman was very scathing in his criticism of. That one was a racing incident, racing for position, and that's just down to the two drivers on that part of tarmac at that particular moment.
So Brazil has decided not to come in yet on this safety car period. They're the only one of the front runners, apart from Lebanon, which is still up there in 6th place, who's not yet made their pit stop, because we've seen New Zealand make the stop. There's the debris being collected. That was the front wing from Sean McIntosh's Canadian entry.
I think what we need is to see somebody out with a few brushes just to brush the debris, the remains of it, because the bits that you can see, the white bits, that's the polystyrene foam that is actually the wing carbon fibre is wrapped around. But there's the incident once again. Just waiting to see coming down. This is a... No, it's not. There we are now. Mikola goes to the outside, but India going across. I'm sure Ibrahim didn't even know that Mikola and Team Indonesia were either in that position or even thinking about overtaking.
Great shame for both drivers out of this race. End of the day, and of course a lot of support for the Indian entry here in South Africa, here in Durban, but unfortunately they won't be able to cheer him on anymore. Now, Brazil still the race leader, but right behind is Switzerland, who's in the favoured position. They've made their pit stop, they've got Germany behind. Germany could be on for their best result, but Ireland's back in again.
Back in again, but I wonder, is this, well, they're pushing something into the car. I don't know what they were doing in the cockpit, attaching, whether it's it's just a battery. That's where the jump battery attaches to the ignition system on the car. Well, dissatisfaction looking on the face of Ireland. Very disappointed. They knew that they had a car that was a podium finishing car, whether it was first, second or third, and yet again the frustration that they're having to contend with.
On board the Netherlands car here now, Verstappen's up in 5th place after all this. He is ahead of the Lebanon car now, with Mexico just in behind. So Germany looking very, very strong. Timo Scheider running second effectively at the moment. It all depends though on Brazil, and whether Brazil can try and make a break in this next sector of the race, how long they decide to go before they make their pit stop, whether they can play strategy at all that will help them. It seems unlikely at the moment, because they've got to pull away at quite a rapid rate. So we'll wait to see if that happens. We're waiting. The lights are out, I think, on the safety car. It'll be, we'll have to see in turn number 9. They've still got that car of the Indonesian team. So maybe it won't be in on this lap. We'll check to see. But while they come around the latter part of the lap, I think we'll see, yes, the
lights
safety
right,
car.
Yeah.
No, next lap round, I'm hearing, John. Next lap round. So they've just flicked the lights back on. I think they were thinking of coming in that lap. They've decided to do one more lap. and then restart this race.
Yes, there's still a little bit of bodywork on the exit of turn 1. I'd like to see that being removed, with the cars running around, at a very relatively low speed, to get that cleared away, to give everybody an opportunity that if they did run over shards of carbon fibre, there shouldn't be any there on the track.
Just to confirm that New Zealand are in 13th place, as we thought, once they'd rejoined after their pit stop. They're running 13th now, behind China and Italy. Last point scoring position held by Austria currently. They're in 10th place. And we've got 36 minutes still to go in this race, 26 laps to go. Depends on which we get to first, time or number of laps. Another look at that incident.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost as if Ananda Mikkola had to take avoiding action, because probably Ibrahim was slowing down quicker than Mikkola was, and he had little choice. He swung out to the left, caught the barrier, which in turn then caused the incident, and there we see the two people involved, and I think it's a question of, what were you doing, mate? I didn't even know you were there. And he's saying, well, use your mirrors. What are you braking so early for? Two drivers will always have two entirely different versions of an event. There will be one true one, and it's only when you bring him in and set him down and say, what were you doing, Sunshine, and what were you doing?
Well, another one walking home, and that's Phil Giebler of the USA. It's not been a particularly good day for him either. Went out in that incident with Australia earlier on, and so he's now making his way back to the pits to explain what happened. Now, Brazil will, of course, lead them away. We're just looking to see whether the lights go out. I think, yes, lights go out on the safety car. We will get the restart this time around.
So for the first time, Nelson Piquet Jr. is seeing clear air ahead of himself, and it's been a tough weekend for Team Brazil. But the strategy that they're playing, this really is a gamble. I don't know how. I can't conceive how it's going to work for them, but by running at the front of the field, well, maybe there are compensations that they think are valuable to Team Brazil.
Well, they've got to try and make a break. There's no doubt about it. They've got to try and open up as much of an advantage. But when you've got Neil Yarni behind you, it's not going to be easy, because Switzerland has been well on the pace all weekend. Let's take a look here as we get ready for the restart. And Brazil presumably going to use their power boost, are they? They've still got 8 to use. He's not on the button. Away they go. The green flag flies. Germany and Portugal are both on the power boost button, and they get an extra 30 brake horsepower thanks to that. Down towards turn 1, and Portugal under attack there from the Netherlands, and also South Africa trying to get down the inside of Mexico.
Yes, contact just right rear, left front between Mexico and South Africa.
But they got away with it, and now Malaysia's down the inside of South Africa. Alex Young taking advantage there.
Well, a great overtake by Malaysia, because no one has overtaken there any point of the weekend. So Alex Young took his heart in his mouth and took a punt down the inside and caught Stephen Simpson of South Africa unawares.
Simpson, perhaps his rhythm disturbed by that little bit of contact at the previous corner, was probably being a bit careful, and he's lost a place as a result of it. But he's still out there. He's still in one piece, and that's probably the most important thing from his point of view.
But watch in the background, the black car, Team New Zealand, right under the rear wing of Team Italy. There's going to be a move attempted, whether it will come off as they come down into turn 9.
That means New Zealand's already passed China, has it? Yes, I think it has. They're trying to attack Italy here. Now Halliday's going to cut back. No, he can't quite do it. China's losing more ground in the background.
Yes, but that was all because Austria was ahead of Italy and New Zealand, so that compromised New Zealand's opportunity as Italy was trying to find a way to Austria.
And look, Pakistan in there with Tokacello driving the Pakistan entry. He's not far behind as well.
Tokacello can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Pakistan car is battling effectively for position, but under strict instructions to behave. New Zealand is the one to watch here. Is yet on the power boost. New Zealand on the power boost, trying to get past Italy, and Busnelli moves to the inside.
The trouble is they've got Austria on the outside as well, so it's just locking out New Zealand. Busnelli did the right thing. He stayed to the right. He didn't get compromised by Austria. And once again, what's going on? Traffic. Basil Shaban once again getting involved in action in turn 2.
And did New Zealand get through? He went for the move. I'm not sure. He might have managed to get past there. We'll try and check it.
France is dragging smoke, either a break or some blue smoke coming from the rear of Team France.
Yeah, New Zealand got past Italy. I thought he had. He went for the same move that Alex Young made at that previous corner, turn number 2, just as we were watching Lebanon trying to recover from a slide.
Well, that was well spotted. There was a brave opportunity to get alongside. Opportunistic from that Halliday team, New Zealand. and that's what it takes on a road track. Turn 2 now, for the first time offering up opportunities to overtake Austria. What is going on down into turn 9?
3 abreast, and Austria loses out in the middle. How did they get round there? I'm not too sure. And now everybody ganging up on Matthias Lauda.
I think he didn't know whether he was Arthur or Martha in that particular situation. Was there contact with the wall from Team New Zealand on the exit of turn 10?
Could have been. It did look a bit like it, didn't it? Well, behind them we've got France in that next group as well, trying to battle their way up. France are currently down in 15th place, and Alexander Premat really might as well just throw everything at this because he's out of the points. He's just got to go for it as hard as possible. Here we are on board New Zealand.
New Zealand looking to Pine. He comes down again, gets along. Can he get alongside down the inside? Or is he too fast? He overruns the corner, and of course it's only, well, I shouldn't say only, it is Lebanon. Basil Shaban has been very tough to pass into turn 1. He breaks late, if not later than most out there.
Brave on the brakes is New Zealand too into turn number 2, and he pulls away a little bit. New Zealand is in the points again, back up to 9th position now. What a drive this is from Matt Halliday.
And now it's Italy who are trying to find a way past Lebanon, and there's no chance coming through 5 up into 6. You've got to be very careful. Oh, a back end of Lebanon gets away. Opportunity for Italy, but not into turn 8. He has to get it done on the exit of 8, all the way down the hill, down into turn 9. He'll pick up the slipstream. He ought to have the momentum. Is he using his power boost? Yes, but so's Lebanon.
Both on the power boost button. Lebanon making mistakes. Italy trying to go for it here. Will he be able to squeeze past? Moves to the outside. Lebanon takes the corner, and they stay as they were, with Pakistan joining in.
Well, I'll tell you what, Basil Shaban has been to the University of Motor Racing here this afternoon, and he's learning quickly.
He is indeed. We're on board Max Busnelli of Italy once again, and behind them Pakistan and Canada. Sean McIntosh trying to gain ground. He's running 13th. He's ahead of the French car, despite having had that nose cone changed earlier on, because the French car, of course, had a drive-through penalty to deal with.
So,
power boost being used again by Italy. Italy trying to get past Lebanon, but bit of a mistake from Shaban, and Canada almost slid into the back of Pakistan.
But Shaban is so good on the brakes into these high-speed entries into the corner that he doesn't offer up anybody an opportunity. He had made mistakes around the lap through 6 and particularly on 7, but he didn't manage to give enough opportunity for Italy to get alongside. He just plonks himself in the middle of the racetrack and says, if you want to go around the long way, that's up to you. You want to be brave and go down the inside, equally that's up to you.
Oh, it's all happening midfield and up front. Still riding with Team Italy here. They're in 11th place, trying to get past Lebanon. The race being led by Brazil, who's only got a 1.5 second gap over Switzerland, Germany and the Netherlands.
Again, locks up. It's this time it's Italy locks up. France slides down the inside of Canada, and alongside this time Shaban has been wrong-footed going into turn 10, tries to turn in, but Italy's got the corner. He must get the speed off. He's done it successfully. It's taken a long time to get past Basil Shaban. Now you've got Pakistan, who are not really in the race, they're just out running, and that's going to hold up France, who are running behind Pakistan.
Remember that Shaban has still got to make a pit stop. We're riding on board with Alexander Premat in the French car here, and Premat now tucked in behind the Pakistan entry. Brazil still leads this race, and Brazil's just set the fastest lap. Nelson Piquet's just gone quickest in this race.
And that's faster even than in the sprint race.
Pakistan and France both getting past the Lebanon.
And a mistake for Sean McIntosh again. He gets trapped now, whether he's got a mechanical problem and he's pulling off now. I think he might have stalled the engine. He had to use the momentum to get it to fire up again, and China's gone past.
So China gain a place, and I think that's put them up into 15th position now, just outside the point still, down to 10th place of course. It's Brazil that leads, Switzerland in 2nd place, Germany 3rd, Netherlands 4th, Portugal 5th, Mexico in 5th, a 6th, then Malaysia 7th, South Africa 8th, New Zealand 9th and Italy 10th.
It's a 6.5 second deficit between New Zealand and South Africa, so it's a lot of work, but Nelson Piquet Jr. trying to gain the gap between him and Switzerland. 2 seconds with Germany, a further 0.8 of a second behind Switzerland. There you see, first 3 cars, but number 1, Brazil, has not yet made its mandatory pit stop.
But I tell you what, Germany's staying on the pace here. That's one of the best runs we've seen from Germany in A1 Grand Prix. Very much on the pace with both Brazil and Switzerland. Netherlands running behind them. They're in 4th. Portugal, who's been quick, 5th. Remember, but Netherlands has got back past Portugal at some point. South Africa coming under attack from New Zealand. New Zealand down the inside. They've taken that place. New Zealand has managed to squeeze past South Africa.
Now it'll be an attack on Malaysia, and Alex Chung is no walk in the park when it comes to giving up ground. He is going to defend. Malaysia running in 7th. New Zealand up here. We watch again. This is a replay of what occurred a little bit earlier when Pakistan made it past Team Lebanon, and it also allowed France to slide through. There was a slide that caused Sean McIntosh and Canada to lose, but he lost the engine. I think he locked it up under brakes. The rear was locked up and the engine stalled.
Germany still running in 3rd place at the moment with Timo Scheider at the wheel. Behind, there's a bit of a gap to the Dutch car, the Netherlands of Jos Verstappen. Portugal then in 5th, Mexico in 6th, Malaysia well inside the points in 7th place. But we know that Matt Halliday of New Zealand has gained a position. He's now up to 8th. He's overtaken more than anybody else, I think.
And we are exactly at half distance. Fastest lap, we're saying Brazil 1 minute 19.423, and Ireland in the sprint race 1:19.614. I mean, amazing in those races. The cars are carrying a lot more fuel. PK is still on the original set of tyres. He started his 40-lap sprint race, and Pakistan have pulled off down at the hairpin.
Yeah, that won't cause a problem in terms of bringing a safety car out. He's well out of the way. And Pakistan, being driven by Enrico Tocacello in this race, gone down the escape road. Now, look how close New Zealand is to the back of the Malaysian entry.
And the pace that we've seen from New Zealand is going to be, let's say, halted. And it may not just be momentarily, it may be for the duration. 19 laps of this race, 25 minutes remaining in terms of time out of the 1 hour maximum time you're allowed to run.
Pakistan back on track by the looks of things, and as they head around, they got France just tucked in behind them. And France still running way down the order, of course, courtesy of that extra pit stop earlier, but they might still get into the points here this afternoon in the feature race. They won the sprint race, remember, but things have not gone to plan in the feature race.
And for one of the very rare occasions is because they had a poor pit stop. Normally France have been absolutely perfect in every pit stop we've seen, with the exception of the first round at Brands Hatch, and here it went all wrong in the pit lane. That one wheel just would not get locked out. They couldn't lock it back up.
I noticed that Ireland's back on track. It might actually have been Ireland we saw earlier on. They are going to try and get that fastest lap, so they've stayed out there. They did have fastest lap at one point, but I think they've just been have they still got it? No, I don't think so.
1 minute 19.432 is the fastest lap for Ireland. 1:19.423, so it's within hundredths of a second. So Ireland doing what they did back in Dubai. They're going back out. They're looking for a clear track to ensure that they can get the fastest lap and therefore the single point that goes with it.
Yeah, so they're running in 17th place, some 7 laps down, but they might as well stay out there and try and get a point. On board with Alexander Premat. He's behind Enrico Tocacello, who's driving, guesting for Pakistan, although he won't score any points in this race, but he's still in front of the French car at the moment.
In fairness, because of the circumstance around Pakistan's entry, it would be fair that he would let France go through, because this is denying France the opportunity of that one vital point which they would love to take in this feature race this afternoon.
Now, what's been going on again here between Lebanon, Canada on the inside, Austria on the outside? Did they contact each other?
Yes, right rear, left rear, Canada and Austria. So Matthias Lauda having an afternoon where really sometimes he feels he's being swamped by competition.
Now here we go, Pakistan getting out of the way, and actually I think probably backing off a bit there to allow France through cleanly. Maybe he's been given a word by the team and he's moved out of the way.
Well, of course, the teams all monitor the commentary. They picked up that observation from us in the commentary booth, and they would have passed that on to Pakistan.
Brazil leads, but they haven't made a pit stop. Switzerland, Germany, the Netherlands and Portugal all have. Only 2 cars haven't stopped in this race. That's the leader, Brazil, and Lebanon currently running in 13th place. Everyone else has made their obligatory pit stop, so they're really racing for position. Malaysia, they're 7th, with New Zealand bearing down on them.
And this is what I anticipated would be the case, that Alex Chung and Team Malaysia is a very clever race driver. He knows how to use the racetrack. He has stymied the pace of New Zealand. He's forced New Zealand to slow down to the pace of Malaysia. And once you can do that with a competitor, then you have got control over that position. So Malaysia in 7th and New Zealand in 8th.
Yep, with right behind them the home favourite, Stephen Simpson, driving for Team South Africa. He's in the points. He's in 9th place at the moment. Behind him is Italy. He's got a useful little advantage over the Italian car.
Ireland, what are they doing? Ralph Fairman trying. Look, he's got that left front wheel locked up. Can he avoid contact? He's out there simply to try and get fastest lap of this event. And he's out of the car now. That's it, the lock up on the left front. Whether he hit contact, we couldn't really tell, but whatever it was, sufficiently serious, his day is now over, and he has not achieved that desirable fastest lap.
No, 4th place in the sprint race, but nothing from the feature. A bit like Great Britain, who had a good sprint race, but it's all gone wrong for them in this one. Great Britain out of this race. So Portugal there, still pretty close to the back of the Netherlands car. Then Mexico on their own. Here we go with the Malaysia, New Zealand and South Africa trio heading down to turn number 1.
The top 5 cars are covered by 7.5 seconds, and PK, Team Brazil, who's leading, has yet to make a pit stop, so you can forget about them for being a podium contender this afternoon. Yeah, Brazil are going to drop way down when they do make their stop. Look, I think Canada made a mistake a moment ago, went over the curbs, and this time he gets away with it. That's where they've modified the curb. Yes, you can see there the little bit of curbing that's been removed to enable a driver who does make an error. He will not be penalised for that. That was just simply a driving error. He didn't seek or gain any advantage, and here he is running car in one piece, and a good decision on the part of the race director and those that are involved in the running and the security of this race. John Village, who looks after the engineering side for that car, but not looking terribly happy at the moment. They're not in the points. Full sparks from the bottom of PK's car. As he came round the corner, the car bottomed. Now, we've not seen any car at any part of the track bottom before, but clearly the car hit a bump there, and there's a substantial amount of sparks from underneath PK's car. So watch out for that, but Brazil still leading, but not by the amount that they need to lead to take in a pit stop and still get any chance of a decent result here. So this would elevate all those following. It would mean that Switzerland would take over the lead. There's still 15 laps to go here, some 20 minutes, plenty of time available, but for Brazil it's not coming together. Switzerland in great shape, so is Germany and the Netherlands, and perhaps Jos Verstappen is still going to get his first podium. Now look at New Zealand getting a little closer to the back of the Malaysian car, and Alex Young in the yellow and white car is really coming under pressure now from Matt Halliday. Well, Matt Halliday can do very little with a driver who's got the brains of Alex Young, because Young will use his car. It may not be as quick as Team New Zealand's car is on the day, but there you see the back of the car sliding, but he uses the performance he's got to his advantage at the part of racetrack where it helps him. Where he's not competitive, then he slows the pace down, which in turn slows down Matt Halliday and Stephen Simpson running third of these 3 cars. This is a stage in the race where maintaining that concentration is crucial. Malaysia on the power boost, but New Zealand's got nothing to offer because Matt Halliday's used all his available... Oh, goes round! He spun it! Right in front of New Zealand, Malaysia spins. Alex Young has made a fundamental mistake there. And I think he might have also stalled it in the process. And that's allowed South Africa up one as well. So now New Zealand 7th, South Africa 8th. And has he got the engine going? No. And it looks as though it could be all over for Alex Young. And that was a very sudden and really very unexpected. It may again been the result of locking a brake and letting it drag into the corner, which would cause the tail to swing round. If he wasn't able to get in the clutch quickly enough, that would be a stall for sure. But remember, we have got Brazil. They are leading the race on the road, but they have yet, and they will be forced to make that mandatory pit stop, which they will do. 14 laps to go, and we've got 19 minutes remaining. Safety car is on standby. Let's look again. Watch what happens. We lose him as he comes into picture. There's the blue smoke. That was a lock-up from a rear wheel, and there suddenly we see the car pivoting round. Now he's also dropped the gears and just floored the throttle, but of course he manages now, having done that, as we saw from Verstappen in the sprint race, to stall the engine. It's going to be a safety car period. It's going to bunch them all up together. I wonder if Brazil will take this chance to come in. It's not really going to help them very much because they don't have enough of a lead to come back out again. They're the only team in the top 10 not to have made a pit stop. Well, I suspect that Brazil will stay out because there's nothing, as you mentioned, to gain by coming in. Not to say that they won't do it, but stay in the lead, and only on the penultimate or the last lap when you make your mandatory pit stop. Who knows what may occur between now and the end of this race? Anything could happen. So stay out until the last opportunity, and then you've lost or you win. Alex Young, who's a pretty straightforward, honest driver who admitted to a mistake earlier on this weekend, will be just fuming with himself because he had a great chance to score useful points there for Malaysia. They've got their new sponsor on board this weekend in Proton, and he would have loved to have scored some points, but it's so easy to get caught out, and I think we'll see a few more mistakes before the end of this race. 13 laps to go, 17 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. There it is. He dragged that rear brake. He was actually on the dirtier line. He got off the racing line, and that's what encouraged the back of the car to drift around. Here's the view looking forward from that. You can see how far he was too late in the brakes. He locked it. He missed the apex substantially. I'm surprised because Alex Young has got one of the coolest heads of any driver in A1GP, and he was under pressure and he made the mistake as a consequence of the pressure from Team New Zealand and Matt Halliday.
And the Malaysian team can't quite believe it. What a disappointment for them. In the pits for his pit stop at last. Here is Lebanon, and it's Basil Shaban. It's not looking good.
No, right rear once again being problematic, and the team looking at the watch as well. The reality is it's not going to have a huge effect. But of course, it's one of the things teams, if they can't get these tyres released, you might as well take a shipyard screwdriver, in common parlance, a hammer to it, and bang the thing off.
Of course, this is the danger of leaving a pit stop till late in the race, because it gives a lot more time for the heat build-up to make a difference.
And also, the man who's designated to the right rear is the only person who is permitted to work on the right rear. If any of the other corner workers decide to get in and give him a hand, then the car will be eliminated from the race. So look at the frustration. He's got it off, but the poor man, he will be sweating like a racehorse after running the Grand National, I think, in this one.
Oh, and he knows that everybody's watching him, waiting to get that car ready to come back out again. It's a long... Now he can't get the wheel nut on, can he? No, it won't engage properly. That rear half
all he has to do is just take it easy. It makes no difference whatsoever. It's a question of just more haste, less speed, and for Basil Shaban, who's really driven very, very well indeed and defended staunchly throughout the race. He's getting a quiet rest. He might have a quick drink, maybe read the newspapers, and when the thing's all complete, go back out on the racetrack. He could still conceivably finish in the top 10. You never know. With 12 laps to go, anything is liable to happen.
I think the problem is he's lost an entire lap, which is a great shame, of course, because he won't now be on the same lap as the other front runners. But as you say, he would have dropped to the back anyway.
Well, Ben, we're just getting a signal from one of the other engineers who was not actually physically helping but was giving moral support, and he gave the signal to the team that no way, we can't continue, we've got a problem on the right rear. It's over, sadly, for Lebanon today.
"12 laps remain in the feature race here in Durban. Currently the race is being led behind the safety car by Brazil. Alex Young was the cause of the most recent safety car. He walks away from his car. But remember, Brazil has not made the pit stop yet that everybody else has. Effectively, Brazil will drop way down the order when they make their stop. They're going to leave it to the last minute and just hope that effectively they can gain some advantage, but it's going to be a tough call.
Looking down the list of runners and riders, China is the last running car effectively on the lead lap, and that's only 13 seconds behind Team Brazil. Well, they're trying to get Lebanon back out again. I'm not entirely confident that they are sure that right rear is secure. So China is currently the last of the runners in 14th place, and that's where I believe Team Brazil most likely will finish once they've made their pit stop. And you take a gamble, but we don't know. Anything can happen between now and the conclusion of this 40-lap feature race with 14 minutes remaining. So it's going to be a very close call as to whether we call it time on the 60-minute rule or whether we get through the 12 remaining laps.
Lebanon pushing their car away now. The safety car coming in though, as you can see, the lights are out. It's heading into the pit lane, and we're going to get the race restarted once again. Brazil leads, but effectively it's Switzerland in command of this race, followed by Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, Mexico and New Zealand.
Watch for Jos Verstappen in the Netherlands.
And it's also helped New Zealand hugely, because New Zealand was 5 seconds behind Mexico after they got past Malaysia, and now it's all concertina together again.
Yes, that's why I say wait until it's over, because it's not over until the flag comes out. So Jos Verstappen on board as he comes down into turn 2, running behind Mexico. He'll want to get a move as quickly as possible, and Alvaro Parent in the Team Portugal entry.
Switzerland, Germany following through, then Portugal looking for a good result here. South Africa running in 8th place at the moment. A few more places and this place will go pretty wild with excitement, I would think.
On board with France.
So race leader Brazil under green flag conditions once again, but they've got a stop to make. Interestingly, France are now up into 10th position.
Well, France have just got to keep going. They will pick up points. They are a top team. They are the top team. But they've had problems today. But Alexander Payne, he is a racing driver. He's not just somebody who gets in and does what he's required to do, which is win. He actually likes to race, and that's a great aspect to me of what these guys are doing.
So through the tricky, a little bit of a slide there from Mexico. Did you see the red car there, just bouncing over the curves? He's got to watch out, because Matt Halliday's overtaken more cars than anyone else, and he's the one in his mirrors.
Again, watch as they come through turn 13. Halliday into the corner. He's right on the gearbox now of Team Mexico as we watch now Tanguy Zhang, the last of the runners on the lead lap.
So everything hotting up nicely now with 10 laps to go. New Zealand attacked but couldn't quite do it. France is there too. France desperately trying to gain a few more points.
And we're now seeing a lot more defence coming from drivers, particularly into turn 1, to a lesser extent into turn 9. Those are the two major overtaking areas on this circuit.
Here we go.
Outside, he gets down the inside into turn 2. No, it's on turn 4, I beg your pardon.
Turn 3 and 4, yeah, and that's the first time we've seen anyone overtake there. Matt Halliday for New Zealand has done it. Oh, Mexico's in trouble, that's why. Mexico going very slowly, and David Martinez's race could be over. Well, Halliday, everything's coming to Halliday here at the moment for New Zealand.
And for South Africa, because South Africa's also benefited. They're up now to 7th place.
So New Zealand up into 6th, as you say. South Africa up to 7th position, and I wonder how much further New Zealand can climb. They led earlier on. Look at the slow progress there of Team Mexico, and he's surely going to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. That will promote some others. Italy will gain one. They'll be up to 8th. France will come up to 9th now.
Let's look again and see. This is the overtaking manoeuvre now. Something obviously went wrong for Portugal as Halliday, Team New Zealand, slides down the inside of an area of racetrack that we never expected to see any overtaking, but it was assisted by a mechanical problem.
Yeah, Mexico in trouble there, and that's a shame because they look to be getting some good points once more. But it's still Brazil who lead, and still, it looks like an electronic problem.
Yes, they're just going to change the steering wheel, so as soon as they can get back in, whether it was electronics per se, or a problem with the gear change on the steering wheel, that whatever it is, they need to change the steering wheel, they need to get back out, but unfortunately he'll be back in last place.
Now then, South Africa better be careful here because Italy has closed up as well. Italy in the blue car there, that's the new driver, Max Busnelli, and Stephen Simpson's being urged on to defend his position.
But Busnelli has been very assertive since he came here. We never saw this Italian until he turned up here in Durban, and very, very impressive. First time in the car for Team Italy. We go back and see what's going on in Mexico. They've got a problem looking around the rear of the car, but this is a battle that we have to face. France running behind Italy, behind South Africa.
Oh, France going down the escape road there virtually, and that was a mistake from Alexander Premat. He could come under attack here.
Now that could just be simply a driver error, or maybe he's beginning to experience some braking problems. You know, we have depending, then he's going, is that a puncture or is it just the way he came out of turn 10?
Seems to be up to speed again, doesn't he, with Canada right behind him, and well, that was a scare indeed for Alexander Premat. Where is the Pakistan car? Looking for that. I think he had a problem, didn't he? I think Pakistan got into trouble, so that's changed things around again. Italy now 8th, France 9th, Canada 10th.
Just keep an eye on Team France. It comes down into turn 1. I'm not convinced that left rear may not be looking a little bit softer. It was the way he came through turn 10 at the end of the last lap. The car did not look stable. So once again, have a look and see. This is going in.
Oh, that's what happened to Pakistan.
Contact, yes.
Got hit by Lebanon there. Yeah, we did see that he had spun down there. So Pakistan in trouble, and Lebanon rejoined by the look of it.
And Basil Shaban, the Lebanese driver, once again in trouble. But here we are, Mexico. They have retired. David Martinez has pulled off, and that's the end of Mexico's day. So they'll drop out of the order. They were classified as they came across as in 14th place, but well, we don't know what's going to happen. All we can say is the man leading this race, Nelson Piquet Jr. for Team Brazil, has yet to make the mandatory pit stop. So while he is leading on the road, both on merit and in any other respect, when he has the decision to come into the pits, he will go from being a race leader to possibly, at best, finishing in 14th place.
Oh, what a
Maybe
disappointment.
13th.
Yeah, what a disappointment that would be for him. Meanwhile, behind, you've got Portugal there, and then New Zealand. Now, can Matt Halliday close up that gap anymore? They're lapping at a fairly similar pace, I think, certainly last time around. This time around, yeah, a 10th quicker by New Zealand than Portugal, but he's going to need to find a bit more pace than that. It's going to get harder and harder to overtake as he gets nearer the front, of course. And Switzerland and Germany both in great shape here, waiting for Brazil to make the pit stop.
7 laps to go, 8 minutes and 15 seconds remain of this 40-lap or 1-hour race. On board with Team Netherlands, Jos Verstappen running in 4th place, not able to do anything with Timo Scheider in the Team Germany entry, and Timo Scheider, who's got experience of racing on street tracks in many formula, doing a stunning job for the team.
Certainly is. There is Jos Verstappen looking to claim back something after the disappointments of the sprint race when he went for the lead on the closing lap, only to spin down at this corner, turn number 9. Currently running in 5th, that's 4th rather. That will become 3rd if Brazil makes a stop.
Yes. Just coming out of turn 7, so just a little bit of movement from Team Brazil's car, but nothing that was of any consequence. Coming now through turn 12, this long corner that circumnavigates round the casino and then into turn 13. And Jos Verstappen, I don't know whether he also may have a problem. I suspect that the brakes are going to get absolutely hammered around this 2.04 mile circuit. And if you've been very aggressive on the brakes, and we've seen Jos Verstappen use them very hard, it may be something as simple as you've used your brakes too hard, they just are crying enough.
Yeah, that could be what it's all about. New Zealand, meanwhile, were a fraction closer last time around to the back of the Portuguese car, but not really close enough yet to challenge. 6 laps remain then as we look down over Brazil. How late are they going to leave it? Surely they're going to have to come in soon, but are they going to leave it till the very last possible opportunity before they make their pit stop?
Well, the pace of this race is absolutely red hot, because the last lap for Team Brazil was 1 minute 17.5, and that's on lap 34. The best lap was 1:19.423, so he was lapping within just over 2.5 tenths of his best lap on a set of tyres that have done 3/4 race distance.
France tucked in behind Italy. They're running in 8th and 9th positions. Here we are with Alexander Prema running 9th behind Max Busnelli.
There's the readout on the steering wheel, 6th gear. Now he's breaking down the gears down to 3rd gear for that final turn at the end of the back straight, turn 9.
Busnelli doing all right though so far for Italy, going to score some points if he stays where he is on his debut event in A1 Grand Prix. And remember, he started at the back as well of this grid because he was involved in a first corner accident in the sprint race. So he's survived so far, kept his nose clean in this one. The damaged nose was replaced in the sprint race.
Well, on lap time, on overall pace, France ought to have a handle on Italy. But again, the problem is that if you can't get your momentum, if you're stuck behind a car of a pace that's maybe up to a second slower than your ultimate lap speed, the difficulties are just monumental.
New Zealand were unable to close the gap anymore on Portugal on that last lap, so that's even Stevens between Portugal and New Zealand. 5th and 6th places currently for those two cars. We're still riding with Prematt here as he tries to gain a little bit more pace. Ahead of the two cars is Stephen Simpson for South Africa, currently lying in 7th place, hoping to pick up yet more points.
And you might think that Brazil, they know that they're going, oh, a call, it's an accident. Germany from 3rd place are out.
Well, that could have been 2nd as well. Timo Scheider hangs his head in his hands. That would have been Germany's best finish in A1 Grand Prix. He's hit the wall and he's out of the race. And what a crushing disappointment. What a way to finish for Timo Scheider.
And this is the reason why Brazil have opted to stay out until the last opportunity, because you don't know what's going to happen. Let's watch again and see where it all goes wrong. Where is he? There. Oh. The damage has already been done. No, I don't know what he was doing. There was something on the car.
Something already wrong.
Something was already wrong on the right. Sorry, the left front, I think, was already broken, because when he made contact with the wall on the right-hand side, the left front wheel fell out. So he's made contact somewhere. And we look into the Team Germany garage. David Sayers, who runs on the team on behalf of Team Germany. Well, you know, he was thought podium position. What a great day for Team Germany all over.
Well, this moves them all up one. Brazil still to make their pit stop. It will mean that Switzerland will be effectively leading from the Netherlands, Portugal, and New Zealand effectively 4th. They're in 5th at the moment.
China has retired. They pulled off just on the exit of 5 leading up into turn 6. So that car, it's not in a dangerous position, but there will be a wave flag there for the remainder of the race. Not a place you'd expect to see anybody overtake, but it's just something there that drivers have got to take on board, as well as what they would just do by simply driving round.
So, cars coming off towards the end of this race. I wonder how many more won't make it to the checkered flag. There are 4 laps remaining here. Brazil still to make their pit stop.
Could Brazil, by fate or whatever, end up finishing in 10th place? There we see Team Brazil preparing for the pit stop. They're now waiting for Nelson Piquet Jr. to bring Team Brazil's car. He's coming into the pit lane now. He must get in a clean pit stop. Stop precisely where his garage is and let the team go to work. There is pressure, but in fact it's all about whether he can get 10th place or 11th place, and I think 10th place is on.
Well, it deserves a point at least for the effort he's put in here today, leading the best part of the race, but of course waiting to make his pit stop until much later than the others. Good on the fronts, they've got the rears off and the new ones on. This is looking pretty good. Can they get the rear done up? They've got a slight slowness on this right rear.
They can't get the thread to do this out. So a problem. He stalled and he goes leaving the pit. Piquet Jr. having had a reasonable pit. Now you can see the frustration, the anger. He wants them to bump start the car. They want to put the air starter into the back of the car. He's going poor Nelson Piquet Jr. Almost you can see the tears rolling down his cheeks and into the balaclava.
Well, he can't believe it, can he? What is happening here? He can't get the thing restarted at the moment. It drops him right back. I'm not sure it makes a huge difference in the end. No, that's right. But it means that France now have effectively gained another place. They're up to 7th, but still trying to get past Italy as Brazil finally gets going. And Pramac had to take to the curb there because I think they've gone in pretty much side by side.
So the battle's still going. I mean, there's a wonderful battle now for 6th place. Piquet Jr. back out. That was an awful luck. I mean, they had a pit stop which went very well, other than the right rear was problematic. But then whether the car stalled because it was a fault of the car or a fault of the driver, there we look again into turn 9. France taking a long way down the inside, and that one really was very optimistic indeed, and Pramac had to pull over to the right and even go over the curb on the inside because Busnelli for Team Italy was not going to concede corner, which would have been for position. And again Pramac overbrakes himself. Again, I just think drivers that have been using their cars so aggressively in the braking zones, are they just really just flogging the thing?
2 laps to go, and South Africa are cheering Stephen Simpson on because he's now into 5th position. He's kept out of trouble and he's now in 5th. Switzerland lead this race. Netherlands are running 2nd, looking for the Dutch team's best result of the year, and Portugal are looking for a 3rd place finish.
And I think it's a pretty safe looking 5th place for South Africa, assuming Stephen Simpson doesn't make an error, because the battle going on behind between Italy for 6th and France for 7th is absorbing those two teams more than worrying about where Team South Africa is in 5th place.
So Stephen Simpson just needs to keep off the walls. He's getting the support, the cheers around this packed Durban street circuit. Some 50,000 people here are willing him on. They'd love to see him on the podium. I don't think that's going to happen, but he is looking as though he's going to finish in 5th place. When the leader comes around this next time, there's 1 lap to go. The leader's just gone on to his final lap. There is Switzerland race leader. Look how close the Netherlands car is. Surely Verstappen's not going to do the same thing again.
Why not? The only way you're going to win is to take the chance. He's too far behind. The prospect of doing so is very remote. It would take an error.
Mistake from Switzerland. Switzerland was slow through turn 2.
Well, that is the mistake. That is the pressure. Now, Jos Verstappen is on the gearbox of Team Switzerland not to pass round 4, not to pass around 5. Put yourself in position going through 6 and 7. Then get it right as you go through 8. Look, you couldn't get closer than that. He's pushing, virtually pushing Switzerland all the way through turn 6 and 7.
The last lap, just as in the sprint race. Switzerland all over the place. Here comes the Netherlands, challenging for the lead on the final lap of the feature race in Durban. Is he going to make the same mistake as he made last time? Down the outside, the Netherlands takes the lead. The Netherlands is in front. They haven't won a race in A1GP. They haven't got on the podium. But Jos Verstappen, from the back of the grid, is in the lead.
Well, I say street races, you can never predict. You can start last, you can win the race. Jos Verstappen, clearly a problem for Team Switzerland, but nevertheless, Jos Verstappen has driven like a street fighter that we know he is. He's taken the lead in the last lap. Just don't do it wrong. 1 corner to go. Jos Verstappen wins for the Netherlands for the 1st time.
The Netherlands takes victory in Durban. What a race result. Jos Verstappen wins for the Netherlands, and what ecstatic scenes we're going to see down there. Amazing, poor Switzerland.
It's not just on the circuit here. We've got the Dutch commentary team beside us. They've gone absolutely ballistic.
The Netherlands wins, Switzerland takes 2nd, Portugal is 3rd, New Zealand finishes 4th, ahead of South Africa in 5th place. Italy takes 6th, then France, Austria, Brazil and Canada. That's how the top 10 finish here.
Brazil got back out. They did the fastest lap of the race, a scintillating lap. 1 minute 18.178, the fastest lap we've seen all weekend from Team Brazil. Nelson Piquet Jr. and, well, Alexander Pramac. Is that jubilation for finishing or frustration for not winning?
I think he just wants to put on a show for these fans who've been so supportive this weekend. But what a story. Jos Verstappen, who went for the lead on the first race and spun out, and he had to start this 2nd race at the very back, has fought his way through. The team did a great job in the pits. They called a good strategy, and when Switzerland had a problem on the last lap, he was there.
Well, I think the only popular result that would have been satisfying the crowd here today were for South Africa to win. The next one was for Jos Verstappen and the Netherlands to win, and I think it's a popular victory up and down the pit lane because Jos Verstappen is a legend, and here he is now winning for the 1st time A1GP in Durban. Feature race, starts last, finishes 1st. What a great day for the Dutch.
Amazing. And Jos Verstappen is just that kind of driver. Look, he's going to do the donuts down, although he's going to have to get it a bit more under control than that. That was the corner, of course, where he spun earlier, and he's getting quite a reception down there from the grandstand. They saw him go for the move in the first race that went wrong, but you do have to feel for this man. Amongst all the excitement, poor old Neil Yarni was set for his second win in A1 Grand Prix, and something went wrong for him on that last lap.
Yes, it did. You could see he made a mistake going through turn 2, and then he compounded it by turn 8, and that gave the momentum. Whatever the problem was in Switzerland, they couldn't defend that position. Ordinarily, on the last lap of a race, you would expect the driver to do everything and even more to defend. He couldn't even do that. Jos Verstappen had the momentum, he had the car to do it. Fantastic.
So all change in Durban, South Africa, then the first A1 race day of 2006, and we have an all-European podium and a new race winner. Reaction next. Welcome back to Durban, South Africa. Couldn't have asked for a more dramatic race day there. The man at the centre of it all, coming out on top, Jos the Boss. Jos Verstappen's best performance before that, 4th in the sprint in Portugal, 4th in the Australian feature, but you have to hand it to him because he did everything today, didn't he, Keith, to make that win happen?
Well, I think he's been in superb form all the way. I think we remember speaking off air between ourselves and expected Jos to have a good weekend, but to do it in the style 16th and a lap down in the sprints race after that mistake at the very corner that he ended up coming out of to take the win today. I mean, so far back, but what a race. An hour's worth of drama all the way through, and really taking a look at this from an analysis point of view, I think we're going to be breathless here. Andy Prio's been jumping up and down in his chair. First of all, it started off with Thomas Enger there and all sorts of problems with a bad start, but look at Neil Yarni up the inside. And of course, pole position changed from one side of the track to the other between the sprint race and this feature race, Andy. And really, you would have expected Pramac to have made the drag on the clean tarmac down to that first turn.
Yeah, I think clearly he bogged down there, Keith, and just made a little bit of a bad start. But Jos went from last to sort of top 6, top 10 really off the start, which is amazing. You've got here Philippe Giebler making a few opportunist moves, locks the rears, puts the car broadside across the track, and
Verstappen taking every opportunity to sneak up the inside and grab a few more places, starting from 16th place on the grid. Another look at it here, and again, just locking the rear end on these cars is always a bit live anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, with the downshifts, I believe that the blip isn't enough and it's causing the rear to lock up.
Now take a look at this. This was the mess that was Robbie Kerr. Yeah, well, clearly that wasn't Robbie's fault. The guy with the board lifted the board, Robbie left as he should do, and just caught the pit gun from out of the guy's hand. The hose just tagging. Looks like the gun has gone into the radiator cowling, and the hose that it's attached to is swinging around dangerously behind. So a disaster for Robbie Kerr.
Must have done some damage to the underneath of the car, or the rear suspension, because, you know, the wheel gun's a very heavy piece of kit and the hose is pretty heavy itself as well.
I think this is Sean McIntosh getting himself in a bit of a mess as he comes down. He turns in just a fraction too soon here and clips the wing straight off the front of the car, and again lots of carbon fibre debris.
Timo made a very good move up the inside there, Timo Scheider, and he's driven very well today. He's been very opportunist, and I think Sean just didn't see him. He was in his blind spot.
And once again, Jos Verstappen, he's a predator, isn't he?
I mean, he's driving with so much commitment and confidence, and that you can see there, McIntosh going over that front wing. That carbon fibre is really dangerous and can cause punctures very easily.
Matt Halliday and Stephen Simpson. Simpson has been a hero all weekend, from my view, under the pressure he's under at the moment. Matt Halliday, though, once we considered him as our driver of the day, but I think he might have been superseded since Verstappen did it. There is Alex Young, all on his own, making a bit of a mistake, doing a bit of a Verstappen, but not quite as stylishly.
Yeah, here we go, coming up with Jos at the end here, behind Yarni. Yarni's obviously got some sort of gear selection problem or something, and around the outside, and I mean, that to me was, I mean, Jos deserves this win today. He's driven sensationally all weekend, and he really deserves it.
16th place to take the win. What a great drive. We've been trying to work out when the last international win for Jos Verstappen, and from our researchers, it's going back to 93.
Certainly has been quite a day for Jos the Boss. We're going to take a minute to get our breath back, because we need to, here in the studio. A spectacular race day from Durban, no doubting that. There's more reaction next. Celebrations all round in Durban. Hardly surprising, it is, of course, the next best thing to a home win, a Dutch win for that man there. Enjoying his fair dose of champagne, Jos Verstappen. Spectacular stuff from him. Let's bring you right up to date with exactly how it's all ended then in Durban, South Africa. Jos Verstappen recording his first A1 GP win. Neil Yarni in second for Team Switzerland. Alvaro Parente of Portugal in third spot. Great drive from Matt Halliday today in New Zealand in fourth. Stephen Simpson, impressive from him as well, in fifth for South Africa. That'll delight the home fans. And a whole host of others amongst the chasing pack, including Alexander Premat, who ended up coming in seventh in the end. OK, well, here's how it makes the championship table look then, because earlier on, France were running away with it. Switzerland have reduced that slightly. 120 points to 92 now, but a long way off the rest of the pack. Brazil with 63 points, and Great Britain still hot on their heels. 58 points for them, New Zealand 54. So competition lower down the order there, but it's all between France and Switzerland, it would seem. And Keith Hewan, that is just what Switzerland needed, isn't it?
It is 5 points to the better as far as they're concerned with France. They need France to have a much worse day, but today there's no one that's going to close in on Jos Verstappen. The old boy beats all the youngsters up on the street circuits. And he's a street fighting man, isn't he, Verstappen? He looks so good today. What about Alvaro Parente as well? Excuse me, sorry, yep. Georgina, jumping in there. But I mean, from 8th place on the grid, I mean, he's had a great day, almost ghosting his way through to a podium.
I was going to say, is that about the experience of street circuits with these drivers? Jos Verstappen and Alvaro Parente, both experienced.
Absolutely. You've got to wait for somebody else to make the mistake, and you've got to be perfect the whole race. And I think that's what's happened. The more experienced drivers have come through, and we've seen that today with Jos's performance. Obviously, France did lose a potentially good result through the pit stop today, but Yarni, I feel sorry for Yarni. He drove faultlessly the whole race and was very unlucky at the end, but the top boys were at the front again.
And the top boys all new, Keith. How refreshing is it to see an all different podium this time round?
I have to say that there's a bit of a wind of conjecture, if you like, about A1 Grand Prix over the last few weeks that we've had off, and I think Durban has blown a lovely breeze through it. I think all the doubters again are now been slapped back into submission, and I think we've had a great motor race in this feature race today. I think it's been a great venue to put a feature race on in, and I think A1 GP is back on track.
Not a great load of them managed to finish that race because of the nature of street circuits, and one, of course, was Team Ireland's Ralph Furman. Disappointing weekend for him, Andy. Yeah,
poor Ralph. What does he have to do to win? You know, a mechanical problem in the feature race. You know, the sprint race the same. I mean, the guy's driven brilliantly. He's had one of those weekends, but motor racing's like that, you know, and when things are bad, they're very, very bad, and when they're good, they're very, very good, and Ralph just needs a bit of luck right now.
What about the weekend that Robbie Kerr's had, Keith?
Oh, an absolute mare of a weekend again, just when it looked like he was putting himself in a position where he could take his first win of the year. And of course, the only thing he didn't come across was Basil Shaban. He seems to have got himself tangled with just about everybody else, but a disaster for Robbie Kerr. I don't know how he's going to recover from this. I mean, he's going to be really sad on the plane home.
What about Nelson Piquet Jr.? Because he did look to be driving his way into contention, then it all went wrong in the pits for him. Any positives he can take away from this weekend?
Not many, I wouldn't say. I mean, he was very, very disappointed with his pit stop. You can see the pressure is ratcheting up on him more and more, and I think that he's really under pressure, and it's just not quite happening for him at the moment.
Storming lap that he stuck in, though. 1:17.5, quickest lap of the weekend. So Piquet was on it, although he was way off it.
Driver of A1 Grand Prix this weekend, gentlemen.
Unanimous.
2 words from both of you.
I'll let Keith say it because it's the same.
Begins with Jos.
Jos the boss it is. Well, Jos Verstappen managing to do what we perhaps didn't expect him to do this weekend, and that is win his first A1 GP race. Let's hope there's more of that from him to come. It has been quite a day of sporting action here on Sky Sports 1. The live action does continue across the Sky Sports channels today. 4th round FA Cup ties. Wolves face Manchester United. That's at 3:30 Sky Sports 1. Later a double header of La Liga action. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Celta Vigo, Real Madrid I should say. From 6, Sky Sports 1. And highlights, of course, of today's A1 Grand Prix. Sky Sports 3 back in 2 weeks' time with the Indonesian one at 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. for that. Highlights action, and as I said, 7 a.m. on Sky Sports 1, 6 a.m. for Sky Sports Extra of Indonesia. So we said expect the unexpected. That's exactly what we got. We'll see you next time.
Oh yeah, 20 hours later we head back to see ya. And there's a slow ride from Manchester across life in slow-mo.